Hey YouTube, I hit the wrong button. I had it all ready to go. Ah. Hey Jess, I don't know. I went to done and I thought that meant go. It doesn't. Done meant just delete it. So I had to start another stream. So sorry about that. I wasn't so worried about the camera messing up and losing it like I did last week. Trying using the phaser pedal. Hey Cameron, you on driving tonight? Hey Morbid Angel. Hey Blacktooth. I'll try and not do anything visual for you then, Cameron, so you can just listen in. Don't distract you from the road. Okay, Cameron. Hey, Billy. Yeah, thanks very much for the Wolf Marshall thing. I honestly can't remember who Wolf Marshall is. I do remember seeing in the first guitar magazine I bought, you could buy VHS tapes in the back, and they were pretty expensive, and it was like Hard Rock Masterclass, and this must be 1996 or something like that, and you had a guy with tight jeans, super mullet, playing a pointy guitar, and at that time, well, for me anyway, I think in general, it's like the 80s were just like, oh, well, you can't have that. You know, everyone wants to be cool. So we used to laugh at him a little bit. Maybe I do look like him. I'll need to look him up. I should have looked up the picture. Yeah, so Cameron, before you go, here is a Westone Prestige. And the most amazing colour. I can't remember what it's called. It's called Roseburst. Red something. It's a Prestige 227 with a great idea of putting a string retainer bar, which it doesn't need, right through the middle of where it says the name. But it's got an angle back headstock, so why do you need a retainer bar? Don't know, but it's got one. Oh. This is my go-to tune with our pants on. I don't understand that, Hugh. I think I maybe missed something. Yeah, no, this guitar, it's like, I bought it. It doesn't have the right pickups in it. It's the pickups that come in this, are meant to come in this guitar, are really expensive. The guy who sold me the guitar said he spent years trying to find the correct pickups for it, and last time he saw them, he gave up at 350 quid for the pair, which is more than I paid for the guitar. So they're meant to look like this. See with the metal cover on it. I think they're MMK something. They'll be like Gotas. This doesn't have it. That's just an MMK 45, and that's a Gota that I put in. I'm not 100% happy with it. I did actually try and buy these covers. You've seen that these kicking about, and they don't fit. The pole pieces are in different places on it, which is really annoying to fit on any pickup I could find that I thought I wanted to put in this. I do have a pair of Washburn power sustains, which are basically what's in the Washburn Falcon and Eagle and stuff like that, and the A series. Excellent pickups. Oh, they've got 3 pickup screws in them, so I'd have to drill holes in it. That's why I've not put them in before. I knew there was a reason, so I'm not really sure what to do with it. I've actually got a pair of 70s DiMarzio Super Distortions I might put in it. They're cream though, but that might look quite good with it. Yeah. Well, thanks very much, Rob. Yeah, nice playing. That's been my new idea of playing in B rather than playing everything in A. So in B's giving me some different things. I just need to work out some more chords that go with B. Yeah, this guitar is a star. I've never seen another one. There is a Prestige 250, I think, which is from the year earlier. This is an 84, I believe. Westones have a serial number in the back of the headstock, and the first number is the year, so 4 for 84. As you can see, it's neck through, carved top, binding. It's got tons of binding on the neck, like an extra layer of binding. It's like double binding, ebony fingerboards. This is like the top of the range at the time. Guitar like this. It's basically the same as the Prestige from the year before, the 250, I think it's called. But the 250's got like a tiger maple top and doesn't have a tremolo on it. It's kind of, I think they only made this for 1 year. And I fell in love with the colour. I've always been meaning to get a Westone Thunder. To be honest, one of the reasons I've never bought a Westone Thunder is because they're a bit, you see quite a lot of them. Just talking away, not actually drinking yet. So, cheers everyone. Oh, nice to have a modulation effect. Yeah, I really need to use it a bit more. Sometimes bring in behind the straight signal if you have an FX mix control. I don't. The reason I bought that was the first pedal I ever bought. And when I started buying tons of pedals, I did use a rat pedal before that, but because it only had one knob, and I figured, well, rather than I'm not very good at spending time adjusting stuff, so I figured one knob would be there, so I can't quite mix it in, but it's just, I quite like the way on a phaser you just turn it on. It's a Joyo vintage phase, it says on it, once I wipe all the dust off it. So I think I actually took it into the studio once or twice. I was just going to use that as an effect. So I still can't get on the chorus. I had tried the chorus on there, and I tried the delay, and I quite like the phaser. Anyone who knocks Mr. White. Someone was talking to me the other night. Is that from a film? The one who knocks Mr. White? Is it no? It's is it Breaking Bad? Someone was talking to me about it the other night. I don't know. Yeah, it's a nice guitar, Cameron. It's like I'm such a fan of Westones that I'm used to. I haven't done a video for a while on one, but you used to be able to pick them up really cheap, like the Westone Spectrums and stuff like that. They really were like the best guitars you could buy for sort of 100 and something quid, 150 quid, and they've totally shot up in price. So that was like, and all the Westones I've had have been like the sort of lower end ones, which are fantastic. I kind of tend to go for lower end guitars anyway, but the thing about the Japanese in this era, the lower end ones are still built to the same quality. They're just not as fancy. So I wanted to see what Westone could do if we bought one of the expensive ones, the top of the range ones, and it's lovely. I mean, it really is. I believe the colour might not be to everyone's taste, and it still annoys me the fact that the pickups aren't right, but it's really nice. And it's, someone said there's a bolt on. It's not bolt on. It's I think in the catalogue it says it's a set neck rather than a neck through. But I think what's it they call it these days? Is it a set through? They call it, where the neck kind of comes into here somewhere. It doesn't go the full length of the body. There's not really any way of telling. I don't want to. I suppose I could probably look in below the pickups and see if you can see if it's a separate piece. But the whole thing's covered in the sort of candy apple red type affair. I've a volume and a tone for each pickup and a push pull coil split for each pickup as well, and it's got the bend switch master knobs where they're kind of thinner at the bottom and they're at the top for push pull pots, so they're easier to grip, like the opposite of a Strat. So fair, yeah, no matter how sweaty your hands are, you can grip it. Actually, what I noticed earlier on today, I've been working on a Westone Pantera. I've got a pink Pantera there. It's got the same knobs, but they're plastic. These are metal, so even though they look absolutely identical, are they sitting on the floor somewhere? They are there. Yeah. So these knobs here, they look absolutely the same, but these are actually metal painted black, and these are just plastic. So that guitar's a 1986, I think. So they maybe realised that actually, if you're going to paint the knobs black, there's no point in them being brass. Whereas on the earlier Westone Thunders and stuff, they put brass knobs on it. Oh, you're talking about football. I don't know. I don't. I was figuring people might turn up depending on who it is that's winning. Like either way around. I don't have a. Well, obviously, I kind of don't want England to win. Sorry, that's the only thing I think it's sort of acceptable to be racist is when England are playing Scotland at football or rugby, and then kind of go for whoever. And Scotland, Italy are blue, aren't they? So it's kind of, and Massalta is not quite the right colour. It should be darker than that, but it's maybe. Good fun anyway. See what happens. Go for it. Aye, whatever. I don't really like football of any type, so it's like whatever. Oh, nobody enjoys the ages. I think I would prefer this Westone to the new Yamaha Revstar. Hard to find bits for the tremolo bridge on the Yamaha or on this. On this, this has what looks like one of those pure shocking Bendmaster trems, which you got on a lot of guitars after this, like kind of late 80s, early 90s. But it's made of metal. It's still sitting there. You can still use it for demonstrating purposes. Yes. So it kind of looks basically exactly the same as that. But this thing here is made of Weetabix. It's rubbish. Really is. And every part of this is terrible. But it is a direct copy of whatever this is. Or not quite. This is the one with the fine tuners version. This isn't a fine tunery one, in fact. No, I did have a Westone before, a Westone Spectrum DX that was all blue, and I mean all blue, including the fingerboard and the neck, which was awesome. But I never played it. There's something about the Spectrum, I just don't like the shape quite as much. So it went. It was great. Oh. You had one of these, Blacktooth? Wow, I didn't know. What colour was it? Interesting. I wasn't sure whether the pickups would be really high output, because to me it kind of looks a bit more classy. But maybe you might be right. I don't know, but whatever they are, they're very desirable, and they go for big money. Even the MMK45s, I've seen them go for 100 quid for a pair, and it's like that was when maybe. The last time I was really looking at pickups, I'll be honest, was about an hour ago, because I was thinking, maybe see if I can get pickups for this, but seeing them going for 100 quid, and at that time you could buy like a Westone Spectrum for like 100, 120 quid sort of thing that's got 2 of them in it, and you get a free guitar, Gotor tuners, a bridge, possibly like this one, or possibly just a Gotor type strap bridge. I take it, Mr. White, you're talking about a replacement brass nut for the Westone, but it's too high. See, I don't know how to do. I love the idea of a brass nut. This one doesn't. This is a graphite nut on it. I think a lot of Westones did have the brass nut. I don't really know how you're going to cut it, because I don't want to damage my expensive file by trying to set it. So it's like, do you just like angle grind the back of the nut to make it fit, or do you hack away at the actual guitar to make it fit? I'm not really sure. I love the idea, but I'm not sure how you cut nut slots with it. I suppose maybe a hacksaw would do it, but it's one of those things that sounds like an awful lot of work. I mean, you can. I think it's such a late 70s, early 80s things, having brass nuts and brass saddles to make sustain better. To be fair, the guitar I've got that sustains the most, I've got 3 of them. The Washburn wings are through neck, brass saddles, clamped, through strung, brass nut, and the pickups are called, the bridge is called a power harmonic lock. Pickups are called power sustain, and it's sustain, and it weighs an absolute ton. So it's like, it's got all the things that are meant to make a guitar sustain, and it does sustain pure ridiculous. So there might be something in it. Hey Pontiac, I don't know what swamp pop is. Sounds funny. Swamp kind of makes me, I don't know, it's a Creedence Clearwater Revival. Is that kind of swamp boogie? Oh. Not Blacktooth, sorry, everything you had in the 90s worth a shitload. Yeah, well, these things would have been cheap back then, but what are you going to do? I mean, I sold my first Westone bass for 20 quid. I bought it for 40 and then played it and then hated it. I think I sold it for 20 or maybe 30. It's like, it was a Spectrum DX. It'd now be 150 quid. No bother. But luckily, I've never really sold anything. I just end up keeping them all. Ever since I did my Aria ZZB bass, which I traded in for 60 quid against an Epiphone EBO. I always regretted that. Spent years trying to find another one, never could, and then eventually got the exact same one back with the same dents in it. So that was my problem solved. So I said problem there because I was reading at the same time, because I was reading and speaking. Dremel solves every problem. Yeah, I don't know if I fancy sitting with a Dremel trying to take down a brass nut. I don't know. Yeah, it's a Westone Prestige 227, 1984. So it's kind of a replacement for, I think they still made Thunder 3s then. It's like a top of the range, classy one. I did get a wee bit of buyer's remorse. Not so much with this one. This one I thought was great. But as soon as I saw the colour, because I didn't know this existed. All these catalogues are on the Westone information site, by the way. No, I don't think it's called West. If you type in westoneinfo.com, it takes you to the new site, which is basically run by a different person. But I just loved the silver rose burst or whatever. I can't remember what it's called. So much that about 3 weeks later, a blue one turned up, which is the blue burst. And this is actually, I bought it off the guy who used to run the Westone site. I'm not sure if there was actually any pictures of it on the site, this exact model, but this one, I had buyer's remorse buying this because I really felt I really only bought it because of this. And the thing is, I actually paid the same, I think it was within a tenner for this as I did for this. And in the catalogue, this is half the price of this. So this was like, I don't know, nowadays that'd be what, a £400 or £500 guitar, and this would be like £1,000 guitar. But this is a Concorde 3. No, it's not. It's a Spectrum 3. In 1983, it was a Concorde 3. In 1984, it was a Spectrum. And then in 1985, this is 84, in 85, the actual Spectrum series came out, and they're not this shape. So this is a bit more stratty, was my way of thinking about it, because this is a 25.5-inch scale. It's the same bridge, same push-pull pots, which I think might be plastic, actually. I think these ones are plastic. So I mean, you put metal ones on the expensive guitar, and then plastic ones on the cheaper one, and you can't tell unless you're sitting there. I mean, yeah, these are definitely rougher. The Spider. This is a fantastic guitar as well, though. This could have been the very first production model. Not this one's 84, but 1983. They had this. It was called a Concorde. It was basically exactly the same, but instead of having push-pull pots, it switches, and it didn't have black hardware, it had chrome hardware, and it was an HSH. And I can't think of a guitar earlier than this that has the HSH layout. So it's got a push-pull cog tap and a bass switch on it as well. I should really play that more, but this is definitely, although they look very, very similar. This is Strat. This is a Gibson. Oh, this is a Fender. This is a Gibson. So that was my excuse for keeping it. I've no longer got buyer's remorse about it. I've decided that I'm quite happy with it because it is an excellent guitar. Here we go. Oh. Carbon nuts are fine to cut. It's an amalgam. Yeah, amalgam is the right. Yeah, I've spelled it right. Just I don't think I've ever seen the word written down. Of resin and carbon fibre. The resin is the cutting resistance. The carbon is the lubricant, so it cuts fine. Well, that's basically what your Graph Tech. I can't remember what word Westone used. I think Graph Tech's like a trade name. I can't remember. I think you might just call it graphite or carbon. I'm not sure. Yeah, could be good. Oh, Mister. The old guitars that have survived this time around are cool according to current Chinese product. I think, I don't want to be. You can get, the thing is, you can get, like, they play all right. Like, see, the cheapest guitar you can buy now. Cheapest, I don't mean the cheapest, you can still get ones that aren't really guitars, but if you're looking at someone was talking about the other week, like your Aria, is it STG? Whatever the lowest end Aria is, the lowest end Squire, the lowest end Epiphone, the lowest end Washburn, all these guitars are much better than the cheapest guitars you could get in 1980. Not the cheapest Westone. The cheapest Westone's amazing, but I mean the other things that you could get at that time. But when you start getting up higher up the range, you start noticing that they're just not the same quality. I actually had a guitar relatively recent off my pal Tob. His YouTube name's Toblerone. And it was a Carpassian, something like that. Modern guitar. It was Japanese. It was really expensive. And honestly, it was this guitar. It wasn't quite the same shape. It didn't say Western. It was a Carpassian or whatever it was. I think it was like a £1,000 because it didn't have the well-known name on it. But I mean, it was so similar to this, like build-wise. So I mean, you can still get really good build quality guitars, but you have to be looking at strange makes that nobody knows about, and you're up over £1,000. Anyway, I think he got it for a really good deal. It was like because it was a strange shape, nobody bought it. So I think it was like a £1,600 guitar, and he got it like half price, brand new, and it was like 2 years old stock type thing. So they are still there. Actually, this week I can't show you it because I'm so professional. I've decided that I'm not going to show you guitars that I've got in for repair or in for setups, as in somebody else's guitar, and I'm drinking Bucky while playing it. I can't. That's I'm sort of pro that much. I don't mind drinking on my own guitars, but I suppose it's the same as the drink driving thing. It's like if I drop this guitar, it's my fault, and I'm drinking Bucky. That's my fault. That's fine. But if I drop a guitar, someone else's guitar, which might happen anyway, if I've been drinking Bucky, then it's the Bucky's fault. So I can't do that. I've got a Les Paul, an Epiphone Les Paul from 2001, a Samick one, and it's so much better. It's from the same guy. I don't know if you remember, a few months ago, I had a Koa Epiphone. It was like a really fancy looking one, and it was something like £600. And the Samick one's so much better, and it was like just like 20 years old. So much better, not this level, but so much better. It was ridiculous. So it's like just paying more money doesn't necessarily make it good. Don't let carbon dust get into the electrics. That makes perfect sense. You don't want carbon dust into the electrics. No. That would just make it mess up. Like old guitars already have a solid wood structure. The new guitar has no sound yet. There is an element of that. I think the longer you leave it, the fibers in it go hard and stuff. Someone told me that before about the Antoria. He said he remembers getting Antoria guitars when they were coming out in the 70s, when you could buy them, and they weren't that good. And now they're amazing, just because they've had 40 years of going solid, because like the resin in it goes pure solid or something like that, become more resonant. So I mean, maybe no, because that comparison was very much a comparison with this. But I mean, it definitely helps if you've got what was a really good guitar. I think maybe one of the things Westone did, which not very many other people were doing around about the early 80s, was it's got good hardware. So even if you bought the cheap Westone at like 150 quid, like the Spectrum MX, or before that the Concorde or the Thunder 1 or something like that, not the cheapest guitar you could buy. Yeah, it was the same price as the competitors, decent, low mid-rangey guitars. The difference was the Westone had Gotoh tuners and a good bridge, and everything on it was solid. Whereas back then there was a tendency to get like tuners that you had to replace. You very rarely see Westones with bits replaced, because why would you change the tuners? The tuners are awesome, and I mean, even after 40 years, Westone tuners they're just Gotoh units. I think they still make, basically, they don't say Westone anymore. Gotoh still make exactly the same thing. They're fantastic. There we go. We're getting caught up here. Oh. Wooded age and comparison. I think I might have said comparison. I said it about 20 different ways, so one of them was bound to be right. Comparison makes sense. Yeah. There you go. Just be made out of actual solid wood was a boast. Yes. I do remember the Yamaha adverts in guitar magazines, that it was very much a case of, they were quite scathing about it. It was like, here's the new Pacifica. When you're shopping for your first guitar or your second guitar, and you're looking at our competition, I think it even said in brackets, hello, Epiphone and Squire, like in the Yamaha advert, ask if it's available in a natural finish, because that was the big thing at Pacifica. There was a time when they did it, and it was just like, bare wood or just varnished wood, because it was solid wood. There was a plywood era. I'm, as far as I'm aware, no Westone was ever plywood. Not that plywood's a bad thing. I've had plywood guitars that are really good, but yes, solid wood just is, in my head, it's better. Whether it is actually better or not, but yes, that was the thing about the Pacifica. I mean, to be honest, I've actually had my pal. I've sold to my pal Ivor, kind of, because I was short of money at the time, and I'm kind of going to buy it back at some point. A Yamaha SE 150, which was like a single humbucker with a tremolo, pre-Pacifica, or before the Pacifica, there was the RGX, which kind of looks like an Ibanez RG type thing for a few years, and before that there was an SE range, and it's plywood. So although Yamaha were saying, oh, don't use plywood, if you just go back 3 or 4 years, they did for the cheapest ones. Valley Arts. Valley Arts are one of those ones that they're cheaper than like Fenders and Gibsons, but they're still not cheap in any respect. I've never really seen a Valley Arts for my kind of price. If I'm going to be spending a couple hundred quid or 300 quid on a guitar, I've kind of got to know it's really good. There's the old thing about how good a guitar is compared to how it's worth. I mean, I sold that Gretsch I got. That was that Gretsch was a fantastic guitar for 300. I think it was brand new price of it was about 400 and something like that, but they're on sale just now, or I don't know how often they're on sale, for like last year's model for like 380, something like that. And it was fine. It was really good. I sold it last week to a guy who lives about 200 yards away. But if that's what you're after, fantastic. But I mean, absolutely nothing compared to something like this. And this wasn't as much as that. So I'm no longer talking about, when I was talking about the Westones before, I was saying like, what's the best, if you're thinking about buying a guitar, you just want a really good one, but how cheap you can get it. I'm now talking about, if you're instead of being 100 quid or 150 quid, they're now 200 or 250 quid. It's still better than, like, miles better than anything you can buy for 400 or 500 quid these days. But looking like this, if this was a Les Paul, it'd be $2,000. If they'd made it look like a Gibson Les Paul, but they didn't, they made it look like a Westone Thunder. Yeah. Yeah, I know, Cameron. I know. I'm going to do a video of your Warlock. I was actually, when I was doing the thumbnail, I was going to do that and kind of look through the spiky horns on it. I will get a video out on your Warlock, but the reason I haven't done it is because I want to go and find my BC Rich. So I'm doing a wee demo of your Warlock, and I've got my Wave and my Bitch and my Mockingbird on the wall behind me. That's the plan, anyway. Talk about yes, we've descended into innuendo. Fantastic. The 80s Pacifica tellies. I don't think it's possible. I don't think you got Pacificas of any type in the 80s. I think you're talking 90s, but it's been a wee bit pedantic about it. I think the Pacifica's like 1991 or something like that. And yes, they do a Telecaster. And I nearly bought one on Gumtree probably before I really started doing the YouTube, maybe 8-10 years ago. And it was like, oh, Telecaster, that's pretty cool. It's a Yamaha. It's not quite Telecaster shape, but it's clearly Telecaster inspired. And I was looking at it, I was like, they're great. And I was like, you're thinking Pacificas, you could pick them up at the time for 50 quid, maybe 100 quid for a really, really nice one. And I was watching it, and it went above my limit. I think it went for 120 or something like that. And I was like, oh, well, never mind. And then I started looking on eBay, and they're like 300 or 400 quid. I was like, damn it. But yes, I've heard that the Telecasters are fantastic, which of course they would be, because they're Yamaha, and Yamaha are, without exception, as far as I've come across, fantastic. Everyone, even someone mentioned the Rev Stars earlier on. I played a couple of them, and they are great. Actually got a choice of someone wanted to swap one recently, and it was like I'd already sold the guitar they wanted to swap it for. And I quite fancy getting a Rev Star, but again, they're not this quality. They're just really good. This would be more like your higher end Yamaha. So this would be like your equivalent of your like 1000 series or your 800 series, maybe. Or probably more your 1000 series, 1200 series, as opposed to being like the 320 or whatever it was the one that I was looking at. Cameron, what kind of guitar? What finish? Poly finish. It's a BC Rich Warlock bronze series, which I like. I've had a few of them years ago, maybe 10 years ago, and you used to be able to pick them up. I don't know if you've ever been looking for BC Riches. BC Riches, you could pick up the bronze series Warlocks for, I think I paid 20 quid for one of them and 30 quid for the other one. That was like one of them had a pickup missing. One of them, I seem to remember the screws from the humbuckers were missing. So the pickups were just falling in. So I needed to get new screws for the humbuckers, but apart from that, it was kind of fine. So I kind of just put a couple of switches in them and punted them for 100 quid sort of thing. Now they're not. Now they're expensive. Now they go for more than they were new. The bronze series I like. They're good. It's when you go higher up, and if you go back to the 2000s, BC Rich, the higher end ones were shocking. I tried a Mockingbird ST, I think it was called, and it was reduced to 900 quid in guitar, and it was absolutely nothing compared to my Mockingbird. It did look like Slash's one though. It was neck through, had all the switches and stuff on it, and then actually ended up getting one really cheap for like 120 quid or 150 quid, like that exact model, the ST, the one that I just played for 900 quid or whatever it was, and it had a really bad gouge in the front, like a one you could see from space, a big chip out of here, and I bought it just because it was cheap, and it really was not good. Whereas the bronze one, it's kind of got that, it's really basic. It's the cheapest one. It's totally fine. I'm totally fine if you're paying 120 quid or 100 quid for a guitar like that. That's great. Same as a V-Squire Bullet Mustang. It's when you start paying 300 quid for it and you're basically buying exactly the same guitar as a £100 one, apart from it's a nicer colour. You're like, yeah. Comparison to our high-end stuff. This is high-end stuff. At the time, I wish they could have made a better name of themselves somehow. I don't know how they did it. ESP seemed to have managed it, because ESPs at the same time were sort of the same sort of thing. They were too big. There was too many Westones, and they really hit the UK hard. I mean, I've been told this a few times. Billy's mentioned it, that every guitar magazine was full of Westone adverts. They sold millions of them. They were like a really, really big brand. That's why there's so many of them. If you look at Westone Thunders, I guarantee there's half a dozen, 10 or 20 on eBay in the UK just now. They sold a lot, but the thing was, they were so good. I remember getting a comment from a guy who used to work in a guitar shop in 1981 when Westone came out with their Paduac guitar, which I still don't have, but I do want one. The longer I leave it, the higher the prices are going. It's an amazing looking guitar, and the Thunder one, and they were coming out with guitars. And the thing was, they just couldn't believe it. It was a total shock to the whole guitar world because there were these guitars coming from Japan. Oh, you're playing the guitar from Japan, blah, blah, blah. And then these were coming in, and they were coming in at a third of the price or a quarter of the price of a Gibson, and they were a better guitar because at the time Gibson were plywood, and it's like they were just amazing. Yeah, sorry. Yes, I am. I'm behind the crew. I will catch up. So it's like if you time it well, I'm kind of near the bottom just now. I will catch up. It's just there must be a better way of doing it. I don't know how to do it though. But the BC Ridge Warlock's fine. Oh God, hold on. Oh, I've missed a big massive chunk. There you go. Haha. We're learning Scottish slang. I see. Brilliant. Yes. Yeah. I tried to put them in. The Bobby talk. Yep. All that. Pontiac, you watch Still Game? Yes, that's basically yes. I've been and see the block of flats they stay in Maryhill in Still Game. I've been in that twice. Once when I was working for a removals company, I moved a house from up the top of that block of flats that Victor and Jack live in. That block of flats. I moved to. I think they might have grown weed because they had like something like 10 or 15 wardrobes in like a wee flat. I don't know. Just like full standing wardrobes. So we're taking all these wardrobes down the lift. Don't know what they were using the wardrobes for. Maybe they just had lots of clothes. And then about 2 years later, I bought a Yamaha DJX, which is like it's a DJ machine. It was great fun. I had a DJX keyboard. And this was like a box. And a thing that looked like a CD. In fact, it was actually a CD. It was. You could take the CD off and you could just kind of spin it. And you could sort of DJ with this thing. It had like, it's hard to explain. I did do a video of it. It was great fun. I think I bought it for a tenner and sold it for 30 quid. About 2 days later, once I get bored with it. Blacktooth Fox, what's Still Game? Still Game is a Scottish sitcom thing about two old guys, two pensioners. They just got up to their tricks. I think it's on Netflix. If you've got that, it's good. It came from a program called Chewing the Fat, which I really liked half of, and the other half was there's a problem with the BBC in Scotland because we're not allowed to have intellectual stuff. So if you try and get a show done on the BBC in Scotland, you can't have like an intellectual thing. You've got to show Scottish people being drunk, stupid, and bums, basically. Otherwise, the BBC, because you can't show a positive image. So Still Game is they are drunk Scottish bums, but it's quite clever, but subtly clever and completely stupid as well. Yeah. Hold on, I'll catch up. It could be on YouTube, yeah. Scottish TV. What was the other thing I used to watch? There's a thing called Scotch and Rye, which used to be on Hogmanay every year, which is New Year's Eve for everyone else in the world. With a guy called Ricky Fulton, and it's absolute class. I was never really that keen on Rabsy Nesbitt, which is one of the guys from Scott, because that was the whole thing about, if you're going to do a Scottish comedy pro, it's got to be about alcoholics living in raking bins. So that's kind of how that got through. So I'm kind of a wee bit bad about that. The pen's not bad on your Warlock, Cameron. It's a wee bit chipped at the edges, but you can just colour that in with black pen and you won't see it. It's just a little bit boring though. I'd maybe consider making it like a zebra or a cow, like I did with mine. It's like, I could just tape it off and I'll leave all the bits that are chipped and the bits I haven't taped off, and then paint them white or orange or something. Then you'll have like a mad tiger, which will look cool. Still Game complete on YouTube, really? Probably not in this country, but I mean, amazing. Oh, Jack. No, still game does have his moments. I don't even think I've watched all of it actually. Molly Castle was an ESP, a pre-lawsuit 400 series Strat. That'll be worth it. I mean, see if you look up ESP, even I noticed that LTD, which every band, I think I've nearly caught up now, but every band that downloads was LTD, which is like, LTD by ESP, so they're just not made in Japan. And I think they've even brought out another series called, is it E2 or something like that, where you can buy like, that's for like something between £1,000 and £2,000 is your E2, not Japanese. Now the Japanese ones are $3,000 and up. Basically at this level. Amazing, still do it. Oh. I don't remember ESPs. I do actually. The only ESP I've got is I've got an LTD Alexei Mahil, the Chinese guitar. So actually, the ESP have the best frets. The baby metal, I turned it into a baby metal guitar. The baby metal guitar, an ESP Viper I had, which wasn't a high end one. It was like a Viper 60 or something like that. I think I sold it for 120 quid. The frets on it were like the best. The ends of them were pure domed. Like the best frets I've ever seen on a guitar. I couldn't get round the ESP Viper shape because it was like an SG combined with a jazz bass. So it was like offset. And no matter how good the guitar was, I just couldn't look at it and go, kind of looks like a melted SG. It was Alex Leo. I think he died recently actually. And I didn't realise that the guitar that I bought for like 100 quid to make it the baby metal guitar, there was like a kind of sanded the sides, it cut out it, painted it, was like a £700 or £800 guitar. I just thought, right, is it? Well, okay. And it's like, because it said made in China on the back, so I thought, that's perfect for me. I see if you can find a DJX. Good fun. I mean, I did a video actually. I get quite a lot of hits. I was kind of getting into it. It's like I still don't really understand what DJing is. I think actually, to be honest, I've heard from some people in the business that a lot of DJs cheat. So they're like they've got their back. They've got two CD players, right, that sit in below. Both of them are playing their set in case one of them fails, and they basically just press play on it, and then they stand at the front and kind of go for most of the gig. But in saying that, I did see the Beastie Boys at Inverness Castle, which was a surreal experience. They came out and went up here, hello, Castle Scotland, because like I don't know if you've ever been to somewhere like Inverness, it really is like pure idyllic. And the guy had a record of Led Zeppelin 3, and you could see on the big screen it was Led Zeppelin 3. It had the orange and green label on it, because it was just the album he had, and he played an Immigrant Song. It was and then the band were playing, and he was just playing this record by scratching, and I was so impressed. It wasn't a case of putting on one song that goes beep with another song and syncing them up. He was just sitting with the records, just kind of going, and it was absolutely thundering. They started then required for ESP. I don't know anything about ESP. Was it LTD EC256? And I know the LTD Les Paul shapes. Basically, every band that wasn't like 20 or 30 years old at download was playing LTD. So they're right on the finger of the pulse of the kids. I don't think I think they're kind of at the level where the bands are not. I don't mind playing that. It's like maybe they'll put in Seymour Duncan pickups or whatever. They'll put in their favorite type of pickups, but the rest of the guitar's fine. Like they're playing gigs. They're not talking about, all right, I'll pretend I'll get like a custom shop guitar, and then I'll make it look like my signature model. No, they'll just use it. It's totally fine. About 500 Peter Buck. I switched from Ricks to ESP tellies in 1985. I think I had. No, I did. I had an LTD telly, and it was really good. It was suspiciously cheap, which is kind of why all I did was I think I put two neck pickups in it and sold it. But it was like, personally, no way, I can't believe somebody sold me like, I don't know, 50 or 60 quid for like an LTD, and it's like, it was really good. And then I looked them up on eBay and they were going for 100 quid now. I was like, oh, damn it. I thought I had something great. scratching is a musical skill. Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things I'd not really. It's just something I'd never really come across on how to do it. And obviously, the Beastie Boys were just something else. It's like they were unbelievably good. I was never really that much of a fan. I think this is before one of them died. Well, I say recently, one of them died a couple of years after I saw them. But I mean, what a show! It's one of those ones that I think if you go and see the Beastie, there's a few bands I've seen like this. Green Day is one of them. I kind of like a couple of songs. I could go anyway, and it's like as soon as there's a song in, you go, right, I get it. I understand why you're huge and everyone loves it. It's like even if you don't really like, as long as you're sort of into music, you'll totally find something in this. And if you maybe don't like one song, the next song will be different enough. All of the stage show and the shouting and the all that stuff, just fantastic. I think ESP have kind of sort of stayed the same. I was going to say the only ESP I've got is I've got a Kramer Focus 3000, which was apparently made by ESP, like a Japanese one, which I got for Sodo. You get a new EC25. I don't know what an EC25 is. Or is that the Les Pauly type one? It's one of those things that comes down to just it doesn't necessarily matter how good something is. It's more how much someone's willing to pay for it, and it really comes down to a lot of it's to what do the forums say, and it's like, you know. So you just I remember having an argument before about a guy with whatever it was Seymour Duncan pickups. So I might see if I can get one of those Washburn ones. I'll just change the pickups for the ones, and it's like, all right, the pickups in it are Ibanez Super 70s. They're pure amazing. Oh, but if you look at the Seymour Duncan JB is the best pickup ever. Look up every forum, and you're like, well, have you tried? What's in it? What's in it? It's basically DiMarzio Super Distortions, which are totally amazing. But it was like, Cameron, Green Day. I kind of like. I like the American Idiot album. They're kind of funny. The fun I used to have with the American Idiot album, me and my pal used to sit and every song you could try and find what it was it sounded like, because it was like pure. That's Pinball Wizard. And it was like, that's Black Sabbath Warpigs. And it was like every song, although it was like, well, not slagging them off at all. Well, I'm a bit, but I mean, the songs were almost tributes to. It was like kind of, oh, they borrowed this riff and made it a Green Day song, as opposed to doing the Oasis thing where they just take the exact bit out the song. They've just kind of borrowed the riff and then made a Green Day song using that Black Sabbath riff or this bit out of whatever, and they were fantastic live. And it's one of those things that if you like music at all, if you went and see Green Day when I saw them, you would love it, because it's like I thought, yeah, Green Day, I suppose I'll go. So my pal was like, okay, I'll just go. Get me a ticket. I'll come with you. Okay. Get a bottle of Bucky in the queue and all that. And I know 2 or 3 Green Day songs, and it actually turned out a new 10 or 15 Green Day songs. Same with Bryan Adams, although that's probably not very popular. But you go, Bryan Adams, okay, I suppose so. I know Run to You, that's good. And okay, yeah. And then it's like, I did know 10 or 15 songs that were amazing. And even the ones I didn't know were all kind of good. Project Green Day have copied Stiff Little Fingers. I believe that is pretty much a direct quote from, what's that film? Is it High Fidelity? Jack Black and John Cusack film, which I actually really liked. It's quite funny. If you've not seen that, it's worth looking up. Kind of folk like us, I suppose. Maybe a little bit too close to the bone, maybe, and maybe not quite as ridiculous. The guy has got like a record collection maybe twice the size of mine, and it's which I should have on the wall, but I don't. They're all locked away. I was actually thinking of selling them all, but I used to go mental for records, and he didn't keep them alphabetically or in order of release. He kept them in order of when he bought them. So it's like his first album that he record ever bought was at the start, and the most recent was at the end. So and it was like a mad system. Just be careful. about sitting deciding, well, I don't know. It depends how much you want a guitar. I have developed a skill over the last few years of trying not to get too committed to it. So if it's for me, it's for me. I know it's a bit fatalistic and stuff. I don't necessarily believe in fate, but it's like if I'm meant to get that guitar, I'll get it. And sometimes waiting for a while is, and as you start thinking like that, you're right, okay. As you're talking about 240 quid and only wanting to pay 210. It's like, is it worth not getting it? Are you going to see another one? Basically, that's where it becomes dangerous with something like this. When I saw this, it was like pure. I've not seen another one ever. I've never seen this guitar in this color before. So, and is it really the one you want? It depends if maybe you're not that bothered about it or you don't need a guitar. Maybe you'd say that I've not needed a guitar for about 15, 20 years or something like that. Like actually needed, it's like pure, I need a guitar to be in this band. I've only got one guitar. It's not very good. I need a guitar, so I've got a spare guitar. It's like pure, just being sensible about things. I don't need any more guitars. Am I going to end up buying more for myself? Yeah. There's actually a guitar. If anyone's sitting on eBay just now, there's a Washburn Wing on eBay. It's a reissue of an eagle, but it's described as a hawk, and it looks amazing. From I think it's from the early 90s. Through neck, double cut Les Paul, solid maple, really fancy looking top. It's got the DiMarzio type humbuckers in it and stuff like that. It looks stunning, and it's like 350 quid, something like that. And it's like, it's awful tempting. But I'm not going to buy it. I've got the whole Wing series, and I don't need any of them. It's like I went through a bit of maybe a midlife crisis last week, the week before, but I just thought, really, how many guitars and basses do I need? And it's like, well, I really need 2 electric guitars, like an electric guitar and a spare electric guitar. So I maybe extend that to 2 Fendery. But the thing is, you get ones like this, which kind of, because it's got the coil splits, it kind of does the Fendery thing anyway. So it's like maybe a couple of Fendery ones and a couple of humbuckery ones. 2 basses and an acoustic guitar, I suppose, even though I never play acoustic, and all the rest are just gravy. And then you start looking at them and it's like, but I mean, where would I ever find another one? I've got a bit of a fear of it. Where would I ever find another one? It's like, well, something like that Ibanez. Where would I ever find another one of those Ibanez? It's like, the answer is never. I've never seen another one. It's not a fantastically valuable guitar, but it's the I'm going to get it out. Part of the reason I'm going to get it out is because this. When I say get it out, stop. I mean get the guitar. This is squeaking on the strap, which is annoying me. So if I could just swap it with this one. Hopefully this one doesn't have a squeaky strap. It's actually, thinking about it, it's actually not that dissimilar to this. What's that? 1984. This is 1986. It's more just. Oh man, I think this has got a dodgy jack on it. But look at that. Have you ever seen anything like that? An Ibanez Roadstar. It's got a few wee dents on it and stuff. I mean, I just think this is one of the prettiest things ever. I thought it was one of the prettiest things ever, and I've got it hanging on my wall. And I'm just sitting there looking at it, just going, oh, amazing. Just bought an Artist TC59 twin buck-up telly. If a Fender on the headstock, we're paying £1,500 instead of 150 quid. Yeah. Hey Daniel, I thought people would maybe come into the start watching after the football. I'm pure determined. I keep thinking I'm just going to have a fag. I don't want to smoke on the internet though. Hey Daniel, you don't need to retract your message. Who's winning? What's the score? I don't know. I don't really care. But just but artist as the make. don't. His artist like it kind of sounds like a 70s, early 80s Japanese guitar. An artist. There's also one called a Custom, where it's like the brand is Custom, and you think, and then it's like it's just the same as an Ibanez or a whatever it's been vintage in the 80s. Fantastic. I've got a thing for Telecasters, but I've also got a thing for Telecasters that, being the traditionalist that I am, I feel a Telecaster really wants to have the metal plate. It's one of my favourite things on a telly. I don't have one you can see just now, but you know the metal plate with the lever on it, even though it's a really bad design, and whenever you flip to the bridge pickup, you always end up hitting the volume. There's something about the look of that really does it for me. Yeah. Hey Andrew, how's it going? Just not playing tennis today then. Sorry. It's like I'm just horrible. Yeah, no, there's a point when there's a great time for buying guitars, and the time is when it's not necessarily new. There is a point where suddenly you get like guitars that are sort of unknown makes that maybe died out or something like that, maybe 10 to 15 years ago. That's your window of opportunity. That's when you find guitars that are pure stunning. I got a big box of old guitar magazines off one of my pals years ago, and it was looking through it, and you would see these guitars that were getting rave reviews. Well, they always get rave reviews, but I mean, looking at them, you could see they were good. They're like £500, £600, £700 guitars. And then because that was 10 or 15 years ago, suddenly you're looking up and no one's ever heard of. I'm trying to think of names off the top of my head. You know, maybe the company only lasted 5 or 10 years or whatever. And that's when you get them cheap. And then obviously 20 years, suddenly they become vintage, desirable. Some idiot like me does videos on them. They're amazing. They're on the internet, bang, and the prices just go woof. Maverick could be one of them. They're not that cheap, Mavericks. They're the ones that have got roller volume controls on them, or one of the models. But then again, it's I think a lot of you'll appreciate this as well. When you're used to seeing guitars, like I feel a wee bit that way with Westone Thunders. I mean, going back 10, 15 years, I remember not buying a Westone Thunder that was in Kirky, which was a mile away from where I lived, for £90 because I thought I'd get one cheaper. And how much you get a Westone Thunder is £200, £250 all day, every day just now. But because I saw it, I used to see them for less than that because nobody knew what they were. They become crazy. Yes, I did. I did have actually played this in the band. The problem with this guitar is it's got a couple of flaws which are really difficult. It's got 2 volume controls, which I struggle with. So it's like this is the neck volume and this is the bridge volume. I would much rather it was just a volume control and 2 tones. That's fine, but it's not. Having the 2 volumes is really difficult when you're playing it. You turn the volume down and it doesn't turn the volume down because you're on the bridge pickup. The other thing it's got push pots. I don't know if you can see this, but see when you push it down, it doesn't sit up any higher when it's up than when it's down. It's not like a pen. So I mean, the modern push pots you get, you know, you click it and it sits there, and you go, all right, it's in, and you click it again and it sits up here, and you can tell. Whereas this guitar, you're forever going, is that a single coil? And it's like, no, it's not single. So you always have to press it at least once to find out what it is you're on, which is just annoying. And also because it's all original, I don't want to damage it. And saying that, I had a rubber thing around the pickup selector, and I had to take it to bits for some reason and fix it. And I took it off, and the rubber thing just literally turned to powder. And I was like, damn it, because it had like a special rubber thing. It was like it basically just completely disappeared. Oh, the MD kind of rings a bell. I'm not really sure. Axel. I had an Axel. It was a white Les Paul, and it was basically like that Epiphone I was talking about earlier on from my pal Chrissy, like the Samick Epiphone. It was fantastic. I bought 3 guitars for 40 quid, something stupid like that, and one of them was this Axel. The lower cutout was slightly the wrong shape, so it looked kind of wonky, but it was basically an excellent Les Paul, and it was like I can't remember what I sold it for, but fantastic, but totally undesirable. Axel are excellent. Excellent. Definitely, they're on my list of guitars. I will go. Yes, Axel, Gould, Encore. There's makes like this. Jim Deacon can be the Encore and Jim Deacon. If you look at the picture and you decide whether if it looks like a high quality guitar, it is. If it looks like cheap powdery and it looks relatively new, probably not. Do you know what I mean? But but you can get a fantastic guitar. Hold on, I'm getting a wee bit behind now. But yes, no, Black Truth, I totally agree. Axel's brilliant. Even the Axel Badwater, the ones that I remember when they came out, they kind of look like the driftwood. You know, they've been sitting on a beach somewhere. So I think the Telecaster is a fantastic guitar. I'm not sure the pickups were that good, even though they say EMG on them. I'm not sure there was some sort of fiddling going on with the EMG thing, because the pickups aren't the ones that say EMG, they're not really very good, considering they say EMG on them. So I don't know whether there's been some legal loophole or something in there to get them, but the actual guitars are fantastic. Bone Nut, yeah. I need to talk to. Yeah, Daniel. I don't know when the football's going. If you should have this wee thing running. So what is the score? Who's winning? What's going on? Are we celebrating or not? Like I know. I know. Let's see what happens. Hey, Buster. How's it going? Welcome. You're not watching football. Good. Rubber covers for micro switches if you want a replacement. I know the thing you mean. Yes. No, it's not like that. It's like see the wee metal, the wee ribbed metal thing that screws it on. It's like in fact, it's kind of like an O-ring you get for plumbing attachments, or like a diving shot. Maybe that was kind of like what it was. But I was looking at it as soon as I touched it, it just went. It's not the original thing anyway. So maybe the same thing there's a kind of similar thing around the output jack, which is why I've not replaced the output jack. A sort of funny thing. You also get it with older than this Ibanez. You get like volume controls. I can't remember what they're called, and it kind of looks a bit like a Les Paul one, but it's got a notch in it and it's got a rubber bit on it. The rubber bit is just it's 30 or 40 years old. Yeah, check out Buster's YouTube channel. I noticed Daniel was on that the other day, saying, "I just found this channel," and it's like, "You're stealing my fans." But there's enough room for both of us. It's all right. I know the things you mean. You're talking about the waterproof switches that fits over the entire switch for like if you got it in your boat or something like that. It wasn't like that, but I know what you mean. Jim Deacon is a bit local to me. Yes, apparently so. Jim Deacon, nope. I'm thinking of Westfield were from East Kilbride, but apparently Jim Deacon were as well. Somebody commented on one of the Jim Deacon videos that they knew one of the guys, and the Jim Deacon was an amalgamation of 3 guys' names. I don't know how you get 3 into Jim Deacon. Was it Jim and Dia something else and Con something else? But Scottish guitars. But when I say Scottish guitars, obviously Scottish, like maybe designed or spec'd and then built in Korea, China, Indonesia, or whatever. Same with Westfield. Actually, someone commented on one of my videos the other day, and it's the internet's a funny place. So it was I'd mentioned it was a Westfield and go up here. Yeah, apparently they're made from East Kilbride, and it's like that's great guitar. It's actually Cameron, who's maybe still on, had one of them, and it's like he bought it. It was brand new, but maybe about 5 years old, so it was still in its box. sort of thing. But I think Jim Westfield have gone, and somebody came on commenting. It's going, yes, they're fully made in Scotland. No, they're not. You know, I mean, they weren't making guitar. You can't physically make a guitar brand new for 150 quid in Scotland. You have to be in Indonesia or China, so to get the wages right, never mind to actually put the effort into building it. So they were a Scottish company. I totally get that, but the guys are like, oh, made in Scotland. It's just as good as an American custom shop vendor, and you're just like, you're stretching at a bit. It's like it really can't be, but they are surprisingly good. I think it comes in with a lot of these things. And see if you get one that's set up well, that's a decent quality, but really set up. Yes, I have played American Fenders and American Gibsons that played worse than a well set up Jim Deacon or Axel or Encore or anything that's above a certain level of shitness that you end up with. You can make it work. Yeah, Brand MD only Bible. Oh, I've got a bit. I've got behind now. Over the next one. Yeah, oh, you got a Westfield copy. It could be rubbish tuners. Yes. Generally, I find that the tuners you get, it doesn't necessarily. If you go back far enough, you know the ones that have these are what I don't know what you call them, sealed tuners. If they're that kind of shape, they're not normally that bad. But I mean, you can pick up. Tuners are not expensive as long as you're willing to fit them yourself. You're really talking about, I don't know. I think you're even for a set of like Wilkinson ones, if you want the brand, are like at 15, 20 quid, something like that. It's kind of worth it. I do appreciate that you're sitting there with a £30 guitar. If the tuners are, as I said, this design, they've got a bolt on the top and it's sealed on the back. Make sure that bolt on the top is tightened up, because the number of guitars I get in that's just come loose and the tuner's wobbling on. It's not staying tuned. It's like, well, next time you're changing strings, get a socket set or even just an adjustable spanner, tighten that bastard up. And on the top here as well, that's saying about another one of the problems with this guitar is got a slightly dodgy input. On the top, there's a wee screw there, which it kind of adjusts the tension of it. So if it's too loose, tighten it up. Another thing that also happens, it happened on I've got a Squire 51. There's a wee rubber washer that sits between this bit, the button, and the body. Sometimes that's missing. So what you want to do is, or you can, I don't know where you buy the washers, but what you want to do is, if every time I ever change bad tuners, I don't throw out the old ones. So I've got a big box of hundreds of random tuners. Replace that wee rubber grommet, because sometimes it disappears. It disintegrates and it's not there, and then the whole thing wobbles. Before you go for buying new tuners, also WD-40. If you sit them in I've got a wee sweetie tub. That basically what you could do is, you really want to get it working, basically peel off the top. It's like a wee plastic sealable top on it. Put the tuners in there. With the WD-40, put the tuner on, give it a shake and leave it, and then try and clean it tomorrow, and you might find it'll gear it up. Don't put WD-40 on the pots, but put WD-40 on the tuners. Could really tune it up. England winning 1-0. Oh, well done, England. Axel Badwater, 250. Really? See, I'm an idiot. I remember seeing them for 40 quid. No, I don't know, it was 40 quid, $50. But that was 10 years ago. I actually gave one to my pal Wayne. Good guitar. Someone talking about a rubber washer. I'm talking about on whatever this is, a 1986 Ibanez. Round this, the bit, the bolt that you unscrew. It's not like a hex bolt. It's like a sort of ribbed thing for unscrewing the pickup selector switch. It had a black rubber washer around it. Yeah. We don't get Guitar Center over here. I don't know. I do know there was problems with Guitar Center. I think they had some sort of, I don't know. It's like kind of one of your big conglomerate things where it's maybe a little bit impersonal. But the problem is in the days of the internet and stuff, which is partly the problem. If you're going to a wee guitar shop, no, I don't know how many of them exist anymore. That's owned by kind of like one guy. He gets the guitar in. That's fab. It's not working perfectly. He'll spend half an hour tuning it, maybe sorting out any high frets, adjusting the truss rods, so that when you go into the shop and play this guitar, it plays brilliant. And you go, that's great. How much is this guitar? 350 quid. Fantastic. And then you go on to Guitar or the internet. It's only 280. I'll just buy that one. The reason it's so much cheaper is because they're buying in so much bulk, but they're also not spending any time at all making the thing work. They're basically just going up here. Oh, you want this Squire? Okay, that's the demo model. You don't want that. And then they just get the box out and go, there you go. So you're just getting it straight from the factory. So does it work? Are the frets good? Is it set up? And it's like, when I'm in Scotland, it's damp and cold here, or it's quite damp and hot just now. But that's not. That was put in that box in Indonesia or China, where it's whatever X level humidity. The temperature's this. It's then been flown or shipped across the world. 6 months later, is it still good? Could be. Don't know. Yeah, so I said, I've slipped down a little bit. Oh. Jim Declan Connor. Good deals online. Yes, the wages or lack thereof. Yeah, I mean, obviously you're talking, and it's like, see, in China, I don't know because my girlfriend's dad lives in China. I basically a working day 16 hours. That's it. That is how long is just standard. And they're getting less per day than we are, or something like that. It's like just having economies of scale thing. I don't know. I know there was a problem. I know Cort make excellent guitars. One of the big ones, your Squire, Indonesia IC, and they have a big tower in the middle of the factory, like kind of in the big factory complex, which is probably, I don't know, a couple of square miles. It's like, a big show-off tower with Cort written on it, and they had to close it off because employees were climbing up it and jumping off and killing themselves. I don't know much about these things, but I just know there are stories from that and getting sort of many Deacons and Westfields. You might have been lucky. I think the more latest Stag, I would put in the same as Deacons and Westfields. Jim Deacons, I've got a wee it's a mini Strat. Kind of looks exactly the same as a Strat, but it's 10% smaller, which is kind of weird. So it looks totally normal until you hold it up to a real one and you go, oh, it's 10% smaller. And it's stunning, but no one wants to buy it because they go, oh, from Jim Deacon, no rubbish. And it's like, it's totally not. It's totally amazing. It's like easily on par with a Squire Classic Vibe or whatever. But I'm struggling to sell it because it's Jim Deacon later on became cheaper. Jim cheaping. They just decided that it's like, well, we're selling a Stratocaster for 120 quid. We've been selling it for the last 4 years, right? Okay. Oh, overheads are going up. Kind of want to keep the 120 quid price level because that's good. So instead of paying 25 or 30 quid to get the guitar built, let's see if we can get it built for a tenner or 15 quid. And that's what happened. I had 2 Stag Strats at one point. I think I did a video comparing them, which from a distance both looked exactly the same. Stag logo, and one was, when I say late 2000s, I mean 2010, and one of them was maybe 2000. And it was completely different guitar. One of them was basically twice as good as the other one. And it's like, that's because one of them cost £30 to get built, and then it was sold for 120 quid. And the other one cost £15 and then was sold for 120 quid, 5 years later. It's like you're thinking, going, well, they're both kind of the same, but it's like what it did cost, it was twice as much money in it. So everything about it, the original one was better. It's one that's got, if you ever see a stag, it's got like a metal plate, kind of looks like a Ford badge that says stag on it. Those ones looks the same, but the wood of the neck, the fingerboard, the frets, the body, the pickups, the hardware, the tuners were all twice as good on the older ones. And I think that's the same with Deacons. I don't really know, but you do get later on, or relatively later on, Deacons that are... It's like you're buying a functional guitar. If you're buying it's probably not bad. It's not unplayable. It's not like a Westwood, Burswood, Erin. There's a few makes that they get this guitar in, and these guitars must cost a £5 to build, and they are shocking unplayable. I don't think you'll get a Stag or a Jim Deacon of any range that is... It might not be set up to play well, but it's not... It can be working. You can learn to play on this instrument. It is a musical instrument. It is a guitar. There are guitars that you get that it's not a guitar. It's got, from a distance, they're just kind of aiming for folk who don't know anything. I don't think these are the sort of guitars you can buy in guitar shops. I don't think a guitar shop would even consider stocking these things that just like... So you're looking at buying them in cash converters or discount stores or something like that, where you get like, oh, look, it's an amazing, a fantastic tiger maple top Strat. It's like, look at the amazing... The photo of a veneer was stuck on the top of this. Whoa, it's a Fender Stratocaster. It comes with an amp and a bag and a DVD on how to play and pitch pipes and a tuner, all this stuff for £100. And it's like pure absolute rubbish. 75 cents an hour, really? That's pretty... I'm sick of functional guitars. Yes, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. If you're... I don't know what your first guitar was, though, but I mean, I wish my first guitar was a functional guitar. My first guitar was a Horror Rockwood, and the neck... I don't know whether... Maybe it could have been fixed. If I'd taken it into a shop, I don't know how much it would have cost me. I mean, I think I paid 60 quid for it. It's not even cheap. It was like a black Strat, and the neck was all over the place, and you couldn't play anything below the 3rd fret. It just buzzed. So that's how I like to play. I like to play Black Sabbath. It's just lucky that I like Black Sabbath, so I was quite happy playing and not these chords, because none of these chords played. They just went. And if you don't know anything about guitars, you just get it. It's like, use my Jim Deacon Strat neck to make my Telecaster. Lovely flame, an early one. I think the Jim Deacons, if it's really glossy, kind of like the way a Squire Classic Vibe is, and it's got like a sort of handwritten, not handwritten, but it's like a signature of Jim Deacon. Those are the ones you go for. Yes. Hey Stuart, you bought a 1986 Ibanez Roadster bass. Ooh. See, I'm not buying any more guitars. I don't need any more guitars, but let's be honest, if a 1986 Ibanez Roadster bass, I bet you it looks like this. This is 86 as well, so it's kind of maybe not the same color and stuff, but it's sort of this shape, and it's got the black hardware and stuff. I bet you that's amazing. My first electric guitar was a black 1980 Rickenbacker. I know very little about them. You don't get cheap Rickenbackers. I did have a copy of one, which was a nightmare to sell because there's no way of selling parts on eBay, because Rickenbacker, as soon as you type it in, it flags up things. So you can't say Rickenbacker copy. eBay's like, pure, whoa, Rickenbacker will sue us. Banned immediately. I think it was a Tanglewood. Something like, it was like the wee 330, the wee John Lennon one. I didn't really like it. It'd been damaged, but maybe a 360. I do remember getting a shot of I was in a band in Paisley called Baxter. Lovely guys, but I was not an egomaniac, but I didn't really like the music they were playing that much. It was kind of a bit too what's the word? A bit maybe like the Jam or something like that. No, fine. It wasn't really my thing. And his dad, for his 21st birthday, his 25th, maybe his 30th birthday, whatever it was, had said, I'm going to buy you a guitar. And he's like, oh, thanks. I said, no, I'm going to buy a real guitar. So he got like the Pete Townsend one, the one that kind of looks a bit like Pac-Man. And he got this guitar, and it was like, Perry was playing it, and it was, it sounded fantastic. It did. He said, do you want a shot of it? So I had a shot of it, and it was like, the distance, the neck seemed to be sitting up here somewhere. And then the strings were, the action was fine, but the strings were like way up here, and the neck came up to here, and the bridge was pure like on stilts. So it was a really bizarre thing to play. It was maybe this thickness, if you imagine the strings being where they would be in an acoustic. So the bridge was kind of on stilts. The neck was pure way up here. I'm really exaggerating this. It was probably only, a little bit higher, but it felt really, really weird. I think that's just one of the things. One of the things that it's the thing when you're if you like Rickenbackers, and it's like you kind of deal with it. That's fine, part of it. I do never forget my first guitar. We always remember your first real guitar, the first one that actually does the job, and you go, right, I've been doing it wrong. My first real guitar was about a year after I bought my. See, my first real guitar had a Floyd Rose on it. I'm sure people of my age will appreciate this. And I don't know what a Floyd Rose was or how it works. So that it was the action was either way up here or it was flat against the fingerboards. The Floyd Rose is either sitting way inside the body somewhere or sitting up at 45 degrees. There was no way to make it work. It was a Yamaha RGX 321P, which I should probably get again. And then I sold that. I bought my Epiphone SG. And it was the glorious thing of just going, what? To make it work, it's just got like a tune. You just put the strings through this bit and then over this bit, and that's it. That's all you have to do. I couldn't believe how simple it was. It was great. that was just, it was great. Oh. Hey Leon, how's tune? Honor Rockwood has been the only real stinker amongst the cheap Strat copies I've had. I think if you're looking at cheap Strat copies, you will find more. But Honor Rockwoods, they're not all bad. I think it's just one of those ones that they had zero quality control. And if you're making cheap guitars out of not absolute dung, 2 or 3 in 10, maybe all right. Do you know what I mean? So there's a chance it's going to work. A 1984 Pontiac in America. Maybe Rickenbacker just weren't the thing. I don't know what was going on in 1984 here. Was that even after the Jam? So you might find they never really got that cheap in America. Yeah, Jeff, I'm not buying any more guitars. That's my problem. I don't need any more. I'm not buying anymore. I can justify it to myself by going up here. Yeah, okay, I'll buy that, fix it, paint it Buckfast colours and sell it. That's fine. It's just when you start getting into guitars, maybe not like this, it's a little bit fancy, but your Westones and stuff, you kind of go, then it's really good. Back to Tuesday, it's possible. I might. So when I buy a guitar for me, the thing is I've already done a couple of deals. I've got 2 guitars on the way for myself. I did this deal a few months ago, maybe. An Aria ZZ Blade Runner. Because I've got the ZZB bass, which is the one that I mentioned earlier on that I sold and I always regretted selling, and then I managed to get back 20 years later, the exact same one. So this is the guitar version of that. And it says Blade Runner on the headstock. It's like, I'm a huge Blade Runner fan, but it sounds cool. It's because it's got blade pickups. And I think it's got a Caller trem on it. I don't know if I really want the Caller trem, but I can just kind of ignore that, hopefully. And the other one is a Washburn A20, which is, I've got a B28 8-string bass. It's a Washburn Yamaki built, early 80s, through neck, brass, power sustain, the lot. As good as a guitar can be type thing. This one is black with gold binding on it. My pal Wayne. Me and him have been talking about this for, I don't know, 5 years. I've been after an A20, and then about 5 years ago, he's like, "Up here, oh, I really fancy one of those A20s," and I was like, "Up here, right? We're going to end up fighting over this." Wouldn't fight over it, but you know what I mean. And he found one local to him for a really good price. So well done, Wayne. You got your A20, over the moon for you. Brilliant. That means the next one that comes up, you're not going to be wanting it. You know, because it's not, when I say fighting, I don't mean we're going to bid against each other. Both of us are going to go, no, you have it. No, you have it. You know, like a being too nice thing would have happened. And then about 2 months after he bought his one, another one came up, which was like 3 miles away for him for the same price. So he bought that. So he's got two exactly the same. I was like, right. You know, they're both black. You know, maybe even if it had been a different color, maybe you're going to have two of them, but you can't have two exactly the same. So he's got two exactly the same, and eventually, this must have been late last year, and in February or something, I was just like, right, sod it. You're selling me the A20. How much do you want for it? What do you want to swap it for? And he was like, I knew you would say it. I knew you would. So I'm getting it at some point. A K Les Paul. There are some decent K Les Pauls. I've actually got a satellite through there, which is, I think, kind of, not saying it's the same as the K, but very similar. K is another one of those ones where they did produce the cheapest guitars you could buy at the time, but they also did more expensive ones. And it's like, obviously they sold, if they were selling guitars for 100 quid and then selling guitars for 200 quid, they probably sold 10 times as many guitars for 100 quid as they did of the 200 quid one. So there's just so many of the cheap one kicking about that it kind of tarnishes the reputation of the decent ones. Cameron, you're just like, I was going to say you're drunk, but I'm drunk. You can't be. You're driving. But I live in a wealthy area, lots of easy. I suppose that's probably part of it as well. People who don't know, but I don't know. Maybe wealthy folk are maybe a little bit cheaper with their money. It depends what it is you're going for. To be honest, I'm never really looking at Gibsons and Fenders and stuff like that. Really, I'm looking at the cheaper end of the guitar market just because that's what I'm comfortable with. That's what I know, and that's I have a limit. I don't know if I should really tell anyone what it is, but I have a limit that I will not spend more than on a guitar. If I told you what that was, you would realise that all of these guitars are pure. I got pure stupid cheap, even including this one. I mean, I can't tell you how much I paid for this. It's ridiculous. Yeah, it wasn't 50 quid. You know what I mean? It wasn't nothing. I paid a decent amount for it, but how good it is, I paid a quarter, a fifth of what I think it should be. At 68 400 a week. Oh, you could get 4 guitars, but guitars have gone up in price. It's hard to tell. Jeff, go tell me the thing is, people always tell me their excuses, and I totally up here. I remember the days when I would sit there and I would go up here. Oh, I don't need any more guitars. Don't need any more guitars. Oh, a guitar that's got 3 single coils. I don't have a guitar. I don't have a Strat with 3 single coils. I've got one with HSS, but that's not the same. Or I don't have, it's like, oh, I need a guitar with a Floyd Rose in case at some point I want to be doing some, I mean, it's like, so I need to have a guitar with a Floyd Rose. I need an SG. And it's like, so I mean, I've found all the justifications. I've used them all on myself. I mean, it's like you're not convincing anybody. You don't have to convince anybody. You only have to convince yourself that it's worthwhile buying another one. And if the wife's not happy, then it's like. You just got to, they know. I mean, I don't know. I remember, I'm talking about my pal Wayne. I hope if you're on, hello, I'll see you in a few weeks. He used to go to, I'm sure his wife's not watching, so I'm sure it'll be fine. It was like the old, he had more guitars than he had in the house. So he would take his guitar over to his pal's house in a hard case. Just take one over to my pal's house. And then he would spend the evening there and come back with a different guitar. Because his pal had 2 of his guitars or 3 of his guitars stashed away. And I remember one time he got it was a grant, and I remember the reason I know was it was a Grant single pickup red. I don't know what you call it. I called it an ugly, and it's stuck. So it's the Grant ugly. I've got one upstairs. I've got a red one, a silver one, and a 2 pickup one. So he got the 2 pickup one about a year after he got the 1 pickup one, and he was like, he got it smuggled and delivered to his pal's house. He was bringing it in. He was like, you just imagine him pure being caught. He was like, up here, it was like his wife came in. I was back. He was like, oh! And his wife's like, up here. Oh, I didn't know you still had that guitar. And he was like, up here. Yeah, I still got this one. It's a good one. And he was shouting at me, up here. Brilliant. It's like, she thought it was the same one. This is a 2 pickup one. I've still got the 1 pickup one hidden. And I don't have any doubt at all that his wife knew exactly what he was doing and was using it as a sort of lever. Is that up here feeling guilty? It's like, because you really look at it and it's like, of all the things you could be sneakily doing, really spending £100 on a guitar, what's it worth afterwards? It's still worth £100. It's like, you could be out drinking or gambling or doing anything, but if you just got like something like that, they don't care, and they all know. No wife sitting there going up here, oh, what's your husband? My husband's only got 2 guitars and he's got 10. She knows, and she's manipulating you to do the dishes and take her out and all these things. She knows fine well. And what you're doing is, although it's sneaky and above the boards, and it's totally harmless and totally fine. Yes, Jeff. Sorry, but I mean, she knows. She knows that you're not wasting the money because it's maybe different if you're spending 10 grand on a guitar or something. I'm sure you're not, though. I'm sure sometimes you just can't say no. And it's like, you're talking about £100, £150 out. It's like, and the thing is, you can sell it. You've still got it. You've not thrown it away. You've not spent it on something stupid. You spent it on something that's, assuming you were a bit clever about it, that's something you've got. Hi, Cameron. I am drunk, unfortunately. I'm really getting tanned into the Bucky tonight. I'm really enjoying myself. I'm sorry. Actually, my favourite story was, I think it was, I don't know, one of the Facebook pages, and it was this guy who was like, his wife was like, oh, this is all in light humour, by the way. There's up here. So what you do is just up here, yeah, you buy new pickups for your for your guitar. Is that fine? I'll just buy new pickups for it. And then he's like, you buy new tuners for your guitar, like a couple of months later. But you keep the old parts in a drawer, right? Then you buy a new neck, upgrade the neck, then you upgrade the bridge, then you upgrade the body, then obviously before that you've done the electrics and stuff. So over a year of buying all these different parts, you've just built a new guitar, and you've still got your old one, which you can put back together again because you've all stashed it in that drawer. Clever. I've also heard of people who only buy red guitars. My wife doesn't know anything about guitars. Can't tell the difference between a Telecaster and a Strat or a P-Bass. So they can only buy guitars that have a white scratch plate and are red maple neck. And they've just got like a full range of Jazz Masters, like Mustangs and Tellies and P-Basses and all that, because he was only ever allowed to hide one at a time. His wife knows and is amused by it, and I'm sure makes advantage of it. Stick for what you know and never reveal what you pay. Some people get butthurt and think it means you should sell it for less. I know, it's a funny thing. I won't sell a guitar. That's why I'm not a good salesman. I can't sell a guitar for more than I think it's worth. Like you're getting a good buy. If I was selling you a Bucky caster or something, I'm selling them for like 100, 120 quid. And honestly, that 100 at that price, that's as good as a guitar you can buy. If you went in and tried to buy any other guitar in the shops, it's not as good. It doesn't play as well. It's not as good as what I'm selling. So it's just like a conscience thing, and it makes me feel good. It's just like, on this flip side, I think people think there must be some catch. Go like up here. I'm not buying that. I've had that before when people are up here. Oh, I'm looking for a guitar. Is up here? Yeah, I've got 2 or 3 for sale. Here you go. Dun dun dun. So what's that? 120, 150, 160 quid. You got anything more expensive? And it's like, look, man, no, but I could sell you that one for 300 quid, and it's better than anything else you could buy for 300 quid. But I have made my money on it. That's all right. I made enough. I got it cheap. I did it. I fixed it. I spent blah, blah, blah amount. I'm making, I kind of, my dad's business, it was like, we're doing up houses. You pay 30% or the approximate 30% to buy the land, 30% to buy all the materials to build the house and to build it, and then 30% profit. Kind of that sort of thing. So buy a guitar for 30 quid, spend 30 quid of time and parts making it work, 30% profit, sell it for 90. Bingo. Kind of run on those if I can get away with that sort of thing. But it doesn't matter. If you're selling a guitar, I mean, a guitar like this, I paid 500 quid for it and sell it. It's totally worth it. If I paid £1,000 for it to sell it for 1,000, it's totally worth it. That's totally fine. I mean, even if I paid 500 quid for it and wanted to sell it for 1,000, it's worth that. So it's like, it doesn't matter how much you pay, because you've got to be in the right place at the right time, because you might be buying it off someone who doesn't know what it is they've got, or someone who's quite happy. I've got total moral standards which totally are really bad for this line of work, where it's like, if I go and see a guitar, see someone's got, it's not going to happen with something like this, something like that, this area, right? The guy found it at the dump, right? And he put it on Gumtree for nothing, or not nothing, practically nothing, for the same price as a set of strings. Okay, maybe not quite as lucky as that. It was pretty dirty and stuff like that. And I'm sure I could have haggled him down, but it's like totally worth it. I'll just give you the money. There you go. Bang. Not even, just accept it. If I go and see somebody who's selling a guitar for 100 quid and it's easily worth 100 quid, I'm not going to haggle. I'm not, if I see it for 100 quid and think that I can do that, I can spend a couple of hours fixing it and making it really good, that puts it up to 150. I can sell it for just over 150. Deal done. Everyone's happy. It's like karma. I totally stole it from My Name is Earl. It's just like it kind of seems to work. I don't mean off the same person. It's like if you're just nice to people, then if everyone was nice to everybody else, the whole world would be better. Yeah. There's 18 folk on and only 10 likes. Spike the like. Sorry, I'm going to be a wee bit businessy there. I think, a brand new 1984 Aria bass. I bet you that was amazing. 1984 would definitely have been Japanese. I bet you it's amazing. I mean, it was like, I don't know. No, you can get around it. As long as you get your girlfriend to understand. I mean, my girlfriend, I haven't seen her for over a year, but she was over. I did a deal thing when I was up here the first time. Was it maybe she'd be over for a day, and I was like, I'm really sorry. Can I take you out for lunch to Lanark, which is about, I don't know, an hour away? I was like, up here. Yeah, why? And I was like, well, there was a thing on eBay. I couldn't not bid on it. It was going at 9 o'clock on a Tuesday morning. I can't not bid on it. And it's like, but I'll take you out to lunch as a sort of compromise. I was like, up here, okay. So I ended up, I think it was 21 quid or 22 quid I paid for a Squire Strat and an Ibanez bass, a bass amp, and a guitar amp. It's like, because I kind of knew pickup only. It's going at 10 o'clock in the morning, and I kind of knew I was going to get it for nothing or get it for very little. And then we went down and I took her out for lunch and stuff like that and got it. And then actually, where we'd parked, the guy was right, like, lovely guy, an old guy. His son had moved out and just said, just stick them on eBay and whatever you get for them, that's fine. And so we're parked outside his house. It was kind of near the centre. I was like, yeah, anyway, good to go for lunch. And he's like, there's a new American style diner just round the corner. I was like, that's no problem. Is there a good parking space? And he's like, well, to be honest, just leave your car where it is and just walk round. It's only like 100 yards. So we did that. So we went round, had our dinner, and then after we were just finishing up, knock at the window, and we're like, up here. He's like, oh God, the guy found out how much it's worth. He's like, I found the gig bags for the guitars. So I got them, and then that night I put it on Facebook Marketplace, and I sold the Ibanez bass, which is probably worth, I don't know, the sound gear bass. I got 80 quid for it, or 100 quid for it immediately on eBay. I met a guy in town, and then we went out for dinner, and so it was, is that not the guitar that you just bought this morning? I was like, up here, yeah. And it's like, and then it all made sense, and I've never had any hassle ever since then. Yeah. So a wee bit of a story. And one should always weigh karma into the equation. You can't assume everyone. There are people that are pure bastards and out to get you, but you've got to assume, at least give everyone the benefit of the doubt, because lots of people aren't. Lots of people are nice, especially in the guitar-y buying thing. The number of folk I've sold guitars to, and it's like lots of people. Quite a lot of my pals now are just folk I've sold guitar to or bought a guitar off, and you're just like, that's fine. You know, it's like, it's great. A vital my tonal palette. Babes, I make room. Yeah. A lot of 5-string basses. Who doesn't you see very many 5-string? The problem with I have with 5-string basses is they're normally really ugly. Yeah. They have a tendency to be modern. Put my bucky down for this. Modern shapes. I like a P bass. That's acceptably enough like a P bass to be a P bass, but you get an awful lot of modern ones, and it's just a personal taste thing. They don't really do it for me shape wise, and 5-strings tend to be that. You know, your kind of Warwick sort of thing where it becomes. It's like electric guitars never really evolved past what you got in the 50s. Really. You've still got Strats and SGs and but everyone's a sort of variation of that. I suppose they kind of tried a little bit in the 80s. Maybe is this still a Strat? But you can see how they got to this, starting off with the Roadster guitar or the Blazer, which is almost exactly a Strat with a slightly different bit here to make it look slightly different, and it kind of progressed. But it's just like guitars still pretty much are just the same. Like the flamenco. The thing is, it's like, I understand if I picked up a flamenco guitar, a really expensive one like you did, yes, maybe it's worth hundreds of pounds, £1,000 or whatever. Yes, but that's not what you paid for it. You paid a really good price for it, and it's like, just enjoy it. When it comes down to it, if you're in a situation you need to sell it, but selling stuff that's been stolen or something, yeah, it becomes, it's like, it's going to have a bad vibe about it, and if it's got a bad vibe, that's not good for your effort or your karma or whatever. Oh, did you press the button here without turning off the telly? What button can I press? Volume down. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Yeah, sorry, I know, it's like, this is, it's a quilt top. I don't really know what you say. It's a quilt headstock as well. I think I might even have a quilt headstock at the right angle. No, this thing is an absolute thing of beauty. It was the photo that sold it to me. It was on eBay. It had been for sale I watched it for months, at least a couple of months, and it wasn't expensive. We are talking more than the cheapest Squire. It was more than like more than a Bullet Squire Strat. Maybe more than a Affinity, but people don't know what it is. The girl had put I know it was a girl because I was talking to her. I managed to chat her up and get the I got a good deal on it. She had like black and white wallpaper. It was like a white background with black flowers on it, and this on it. And it was a fantastic photo. And as soon as I saw it, I was just like, oh, have to have that. And it was like, you go in and you go, oh, it's like the amount of things that you can get away with just by being nice. And it's just, it works the same with me. See, if I've got a guitar up for £100 and I get a message from someone, I just says 60. No, I mean, I'm not even replying to that. It's like, all right, I'm really interested in this guitar. It's like, Pierre, I don't know, maybe thinking about it. It's like, Pierre, I've got being nice. Would you maybe take 60? And then maybe I would go like, Pierre, oh, no, 60 is maybe a little bit less. Maybe take 80. You get the guitar. Just going, oi, yeah, dick. Would you take half what you're asking? It's like, Pierre, no. And also being the insulting thing as well. You know, it's like, I don't know. See, people do it all the time. I get it. You know, it's like, oh, see you're selling a guitar for £100, I'll give you 80. You're like, what's even the point in not asking that? You know, you don't want to insult the person who's selling. There's a huge variance in spending a bit of time being nice. I mean, I've got a fair few guitars for free just by being nice and being 100% honest, but spending a little bit of time, you know, just how you word the email. Maybe take 10, 20 minutes to write your paragraph and get it perfect. You know, especially see if you've got like a guitar you've bought off eBay that's got an issue. It's like, hi, I bought your guitar. And what I always do is, like, say it arrived on the Thursday, right? I would say, it's like, can you get it? The neck's broken, right? Or there's something seriously wrong with it. Don't go in saying, ripping me off, bastard. Go in and say, up here, I've just opened the guitar. There's a problem with the neck. It looks broken. I'm going to email you tomorrow once I've calmed down. Yeah. So then the person gets it and goes up here. Oh, there's something wrong with the guitar. Something wrong with the neck. Oh, he's going to email me tomorrow. And then tomorrow you get an email that I've written I've spent 10 minutes wording it so it sounds quite nice. That's when they go up here. Oh, right. Oh, sorry. Then you say, hi, the neck's twisted. I do appreciate you might not have seen that if you don't know about guitars. I'm not calling you a bastard. It's a mistake anyone could have made. That's your approach, and you end up just by being nice and being honest as well. What you don't want to do is getting the email. You know, you open it up, you get the guitar. There's something wrong with the neck, and you just go, bastard, want my money back. You're a con artist, because then immediately they're on the defensive. Whereas what you do is you give them the day over the night, saying, like, here, just got the guitar in, not quite happy about it. There's an issue with the headstock. I'm going to cool down a bit, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. That gives them a day to think, to deal with it as well, rather than just getting hit with a thing. Yeah. Oh, you've told them. I thought you said you're not meant to tell people how much you pay for things. I got kicked off Facebook where I tried to look beyond my 500-mile radius. It has to be a pretty damn good buy. 500 miles is like, you're in America. 500 miles, you don't really have a 500-mile radius from me. Maybe just, I think maybe see if you went right to Land's End, maybe it's 500 miles. But the thing is that you'll get, being in America, you won't really understand the size of, I mean, I'm in Scotland, right, which is in the United Kingdom, unfortunately. But maybe not for that much longer. London is only 470 miles away. Something like that. And that's me going from Scotland, its own country, down to pretty much the south of England. It's like England, Britain is not a big place. We don't have the opportunity to drive for days. You know, when we talk about a road trip, we're talking about a road trip, and it's like, oh, what time will you get there? And it's like, you know, we'll leave at 9 a.m. and we'll be there for dinner, whatever it is you're going, sort of thing. Really, we don't have days and days. We don't really have motels and just the whole culture, just the distances. There aren't really any. I can get to England 109 miles, so you're talking about an hour and a half to be in England. Nothing. It gets a bit difficult when you start going up north, but even distance-wise, it's not very much. But it's how close you can get to a decent road. If you're on the M9, the A9 up to Inverness, as long as you can get to that, you're on a decent road. That's fine. There are distances where it might take you an hour to get 20 miles because it's like this. You know, the roads, you're going up glens and over hills and stuff. Yeah, £30 to £2,000 is just ridiculous. So this sounds like a funny story. It starts off with, so I bought this guitar for a really tall dude. He hands me it. the guitar and says, try it. So I'm there with a guitar hanging under my nuts. Every chord was farting out. Oh, there's more to that story than that. I understand, but I mean that's when you do a deal. You know, it's like I'm not bothered if you get a guitar that doesn't play. Then the haggling begins. I sold a guitar to a guy. It was a Hondo. It was like painted like a tiger. That guy, so he wanted it for some. He wanted a cheap bass to take to some religious thing in France. He's like, yes, I've got a Spectre, blah blah blah, and a custom shop Jaguar and all that. All right, okay. So here's this Hondo bass, and he was playing it, and he was just like that. Right. So basically, I came here. You're asking for 240 quid or 200 quid, whatever it was, and I was totally ready to haggle you down. I haggled down with everything. This is amazing. This is like as good as some of the stuff I've got. Some of my bases, and I'm buying this as a cheap one to take like to a festival. So I'll just take it. And that's exactly the correct attitude to have. If you get it, you go up your and you get it, and it's buzzing. The action's really high, but it wasn't. I'd set it up so it played pure amazing. You could see him just kind of going. He's looking a wee bit uneasy. What is it? And he's obviously come over thinking, right, he's wanting 240 quid or whatever it was. I'll see if I can haggle him down. I'll lowball him with 150, and then we'll do the deal. And it's like you get something that's just worth it, and he's just like that. Pure look, man. Just take it. There's no point, you know, which is totally the right way to go. It was nice to see it. Obviously, you go and look at a guitar and say it's on its borderline for what it's worth, and I've done this before, and you get it, and it's got a tuner missing. You're like, right, there wasn't a picture showing the top of the headstock with the tuner missing on the advert that I did and I saw and all that. It didn't mention it. Something like that is, you can understand you would miss it if you knew absolutely nothing, but I mean then you can do a bit of haggling, but not if it's just I live in Albuquerque. I've heard that before. 500 miles, nothing in between. Yeah, that's not what we get here. That's why petrol. I see Americans complaining about petrol costing, was it $1 a gallon or $5 a gallon? So you're talking $5 a gallon and complaining about it. We play we pay a hell of a lot more for petrol than what you do. We pay £1.30 for a litre, so that's £1.30 times 3 for a gallon, or times 5.5 because it's 5.5 litres in a gallon, something like that. So what does that come out at? £8 or something? £8, which is the same as you paying $10 a gallon, and it's just always been like that. But we don't have. Oh, I'll go to the shop and it's 100 miles. No, 100 miles from where I am. I mean, I'm quite lucky, very lucky where I live, being in the central belt of Scotland. Out of all the places I could live, even in the UK, it's like I can get from me. It takes me 45 minutes to get to Edinburgh, which is the other side of Scotland. Even Dundee and Aberdeen are within 45 minutes to Dundee, maybe an hour to Aberdeen. And Glasgow, that side, 15, 20 minutes to get into Glasgow. If I've driven more than 45 minutes in that direction, I'm in the sea. So I can kind of get all of the central belt of Scotland. Like 75% of all the people in Scotland are within 45 minutes drive from here. It's kind of hard to knock it in. I'm falling behind again. Americans don't appreciate how just cozy everything is. Cozy is when it's hobbiting. They don't appreciate. Yes, I agree. I mean, it's like you're talking Blacktooth Fox. When you're at, what did you say? Where it was Ipswich? You said you were. I can't remember. Somewhere in England. I'm ignorant of where things are in England. Not that far away. You know what I mean? I could definitely get down, meet you, and come back again in a day. You know what I mean? And that's me just assuming you're in England somewhere. That's totally fine. Can be done. If you can remember, actually, when I came back from China the first time, I wore my. Was it the first time? No, it was the second time after the Brexit thing. So I wore my Scotland T-shirt with a big saltire on it that just said Scotland because the EU thing had already been voted, and Scotland obviously didn't vote to leave. So I thought, if I'm in Amsterdam in the main airport, I want to be Scottish so people don't hate me. It's like, I'm still European. I wanted to be, but been forced out. And a guy would come up to us, yeah, he was an Australian talking to me. He's like, I just totally can't believe it here because he was in Australia. It's like massive. So he was like getting a plane to go from, I don't know, Melbourne to Sydney or whatever. And you'd be just in standard taking 5-6 hours on a flight to get from anywhere to anywhere or driving for 2 days. And he's like, see, when I came over to Europe, it's like, you get like free from here, from like in Amsterdam, it's like 45 minutes to Glasgow, 45 minutes to London, like the same to Dublin. I've got Rotterdam and Rome and Florence, and basically everywhere in Europe. If you're kind of in Amsterdam, you can kind of get anywhere in the whole of Europe in about an hour. Same thing in China. It's like trying to work out the time. And from going from Shenzhen to Chengdu for like my first, Shenzhen was like the internal flight, to Chengdu was the international airport. It was like 4 or 5 hours. And it's like, if you imagine this is China, it was kind of going from here to here, which is 4 or 5 hours in a plane. If you leave from here and go 4 or 5 hours in a plane, you're in Africa or New York. It's like just times are mental. But Pontiac, come on over, and you can do that. You can do, if you're used to driving pure stupid amounts of time, you can kind of do the whole of UK in a day. You could spend first night in London, and then if you leave in the morning, you're in Glasgow for the night. And if you go, Glasgow's the last of the shit bits. See, as soon as you go any further north, you're into the nice bits, and you're talking west coast of Scotland. Look it up. Makes all of us cry. It's just the best place in the world. Like for scenery and stuff like that. I mean, okay, you've got the Grand Canyon, but I mean the Grand Canyon is bigger than the whole of the Britain. I'm not sure what an Electra Outlaw is. We didn't get Electra over here. Electra were made by Matsumoku, but basically the same as your Westones, but made by a different thing. Petrol $2.80. So that's, I think pounds are still worth a bit more than dollars. So you're probably not that much more. I mean, I remember looking at stuff on eBay, not going back maybe 10 years, and basically it was half. You basically got $2 to the pound. Now I think you get about 1.8 or something. I don't know what it's like after Brexit. Obviously, the people are making money are not caring, but so 280 is probably about £2.50. So basically, you're a third of the price. At the most, a third of the price of what we pay. My apologies, a wee bit drunk up here. Talk about you drunk. I'm almost getting all the way through. I've been on for 2 hours. I'm enjoying myself though. I'm getting much further through my bottle of Bucky than I normally do. Normally, this is I was explaining to my pal Ali, who's a drummer in my band Cranking House. We were meant to be doing a festival thing at his house, and he's like, "Is there anything you want at the bar?" And I was like, "Yes, I want optics. Like the upside down things that take bottles with Bucky in it." And he was like, yeah. So he bought like an optic thing and 4 bottles of Bucky sitting in it just for me at his bar. He's got a bar. And last night, Friday night, he's like, Friday night bucket, I'll buy a start the Bucky. I can't remember the end of that story, but he was drinking. It was up here. How are you getting on? It's up here. Oh, it's all right. I'm kind of really drunk but awake. I was like, up here, right? Well, basically, once you get to the top of the label, it starts tasting good, and then just like pick up whatever tree it is you're going to have a fight with. You know what I mean? Because it's called Wreck the House juice. Wreck the House juice. Because basically it makes you want to fight, sort of. Doesn't make me want to fight, but yeah. Oh man, hold on. Ah. Visit might be double jabbed and spending 2 weeks in hotel quarantine. Nah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how it works. Just need to over. Malcolm lives near Craig Lang. Craig Lang is a made-up place, but where they live is actually Mary Hill. It's called, and that's not the studio. The studio I go in sometimes with the band when we can't get the main studio. It's about, and it's going to say, I'm sitting there going up here. Yeah, it's not that close. Actually, as the crow flies, 5 miles away to Craig Lang, actually called Mary Hill. Basically, I go down onto the Kirky Main Road through Bishop Briggs, through Springburn, where Angus Young and Malcolm Young were born, and Donovan. Bishop Briggs, obviously, where Peter Capaldi, who is Doctor Who, lived. And then once I'm through Springburn, I'm basically there. Yeah, aye. So in a car, 20, 25 minutes. I don't class that as being. Oh no, I'm not in Craig Lang. No. But yeah, totally there. The New Forest. I don't know where the New Forest is. Ask Clapton about that needle. I don't know what we're talking about. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a big Clapton fan. Yeah, there we are. My Hermit. Kind of. Malcolm. You've seen Local Hero? I love that film. That's a bit West Coast. That basically yes, but the thing is that's quite. Where is that? That's quite far north, and not in American terms, quite far north. That's not that far away, but you don't have to go anything like as far as that to get it to basically look like that. I absolutely love that film, Local Hero. They'll see the bit at the end when he gets to his skyscraper, and he's going out and he goes out onto onto his balcony. You can hear the motorway not, and he closes it, and then he goes into the bathroom and he's got lifting out the shells and shit he picked off the beach, and he's cleaning it with a toothbrush. Oh, why is there no sound? Sounds like a song I can learn now. I've never been able to play it, but it's in there. Yeah, no, Local Heroes. That's where my heart is, and you don't have to go far away from here. My mum and dad have got a chalet in a place called Loch Fyne, which is basically you're getting there. It's 1.5 hours drive from the centre of Glasgow. No, it's 1.5 hour drive from where I am. It's slightly closer, and honestly, it's just absolute heaven. I'm tearing up. Oh, I love Local Hero. I think it's amazing. But yeah, it looks like that. And you get bits where the guy gets converted. I need to watch that film again. The other film, if you like Local Hero, is called Restless Natives. Watch that. Restless Natives. The soundtrack's by Big Country. It's a comedy, but it's like Local Hero, apart from much funnier. And basically, that's me. And everyone of my generation, of my age, it's just the two characters in it. That's us. Hilarious. Better than Still Game. Maybe even still some of the same people in it, maybe. Peter Capaldi, excellent chart in The Devil's Whore. Not heard it. Sounds good, though. I do like Peter Capaldi, though. He's my favourite Doctor Who. I struggled a bit following some of the later series, but one of my favourite episodes of Doctor Who ever, and I'm talking about my mum was a mad Doctor Who fan from before I was born. So I remember seeing. Apparently, I was scared and used to hide behind the the City when the Marshmen were on. This is before you got video recorders, or is it Full Circle? It's called. So I don't really remember Tom Baker. I definitely remember Peter Davidson. Colin Baker is my Doctor, and Sylvester McCoy, awesome. We're talking about the early one, and then when Peter Capaldi came in, he was fantastic. Bill Forsyth, a single feeling, I don't know. Gregory's Girl. You've seen that? Cumbernauld, I can see it if I was standing on the roof of my house. Cumbernauld is my singer in my band lives in Cumbernauld in Clondurrit, which is one of the bits. But the bit, see at the very start when his dad's doing a driving lesson. There's like the great thing about these new towns is there's no pedestrians, and then it's like Gregory in the middle of the road, and he's like, and instead of running to the side of the road, he runs away from the car, so he's still on the road. That is literally 2 miles away. So we know it. My friend's wife, Michael, his wife Fiona, her brother went to the school that's in Gregory's Girl, and he wasn't in the film. He was asked because his class were at that age, at the same age, a few years older than us, at the same age, and it was like, oh, do you want to stay back on a Friday afternoon? They're recording a film. Do you want to stay back and be part of the football team? And he didn't do it because acting's for poofs. So there you go. That's how close we are. Any gig update the Black Sabbath band? Not yet. We did have a gig. It was meant to be on the 4th, which was a couple of weeks ago or last week. And we're still COVIDed up. We've got an absolute arsehole who unfortunately runs Scotland as well as the UK, who basically just does whatever the people with money tell him to do. If we were on our own, we would have sorted this by now, but that's a political thing which I don't want to talk about. To ding me, but I mean, basically, Boris is an absolute clown. Nobody up here votes for him. So, but because we're outnumbered by other countries, not naming any ones who are playing football tonight or anything like that, we are different. Ugh! Freedom. Yes. How old America? Oh no, 70 Doctor. It's all you really need. Really, it did get. That was some good stuff. It was good up until Sylvester McCoy. There was good stuff. Peter Davidson got a bit shit. Sometimes there was a problem with the BBC where they used to turn off the studio. Some workers' rights union thing where they basically just turned it off at 10 o'clock at night. That was it. So the things they would be doing episodes, and it's like, turn it off, and it's like, well, here you go. And it's like, but we've not filmed the end of it yet. So they just kind of put it out anyway, even though it didn't actually end. So quite a lot of it didn't make sense. But Colin Baker, I've actually got a guitar that used to be owned by a Washburn owned by Jeffrey Hughes, who was in The Trial of a Time Lord with Colin Baker, which was like a series-long multi-thing. Look that up, The Trial of a Time Lord. You have to kind of bypass the special effects because there wasn't any budget for them. But the stories, they spent the money on, well, they obviously didn't cost very much money to get scripts written. So the thing is, what you find with these is the scripts are amazing. The ideas are amazing. The actors are amazing. The costumes are really cheap and the special effects kind of don't exist. So you have to kind of close your eyes at bits when some of the special effects don't cut it up. But I mean, compared to what we get now, it's just amazing. I play guitar. When I don't watch, I play guitar. I play guitar. Restless Nature's amazing soundtrack from Stuart Adamson. The film's hilarious. I watched that maybe not that long ago. I'd never heard about it. I'm going to rabbit on. 2 hours and 8 minutes. I'm sorry, I'm enjoying myself. I'm just going to I'm going to manage to finish my first ever bottle of Bucky in a live stream. It's kind of going that way. Right, so Restless Nature's, I've heard about it. I'd heard it was great. And in Kirky, down the road, there used to be a Blockbuster, which was that's probably worldwide video things. And then they had a bit at the door where it was like kind of second-hand DVDs, and I was like, Restless Natives, £2, fantastic. So I was up here. I've heard about this, never seen it because it's never been on telly. They don't put it on the BBC because it makes Scotland look good. So they just put it on. It's like, I'll buy this. And I was like, when I got it home, I looked up and it was signed by Vincent Friel, something like that. I'd be all right. Okay, cool. So it's signed by the guy who is the Wolfman, the two main characters. He's the other one. Look here, Geely sandwiches, that guy. And then I was like, sitting there watching, up here. Oh my God, this film absolutely blew me away. So amazing. Talked to my pal Mo, who was a window cleaner at the time. Was that? Hey, that's the film. I've told you about that hundreds of times. I was up here. Yeah, I thought I'd heard it. Up here. I worked with Vinny. I was up here. Right, because he was a window cleaner. I was up here. Yeah. You know, just like, yeah, whatever you say, Mo. Yeah, it's like, yeah, I believe you. And then I think it was maybe 2 days later, we were down at a place in Kirky called Bar Bliss. And me and Mo were in just getting a pint or walking past or whatever. And then I was like, someone go, Mo, how's it going? I was up here, all right, is that right? Then how's it going? And I was up here. Just in the pub was the guy, and the pub's only got 10 people in it, was Vincent. I'm sure his name's Vincent or something, Vincent. Yeah, in Restless Natives, and I'd just been pure converted. I shattered too much to go up and say, oh my God, you're the best film ever made. But I saw it recently, and I couldn't believe it. It's like the first line when I don't know. There's a bit. I don't want to ruin it for anyone, but it's so ridiculously funny that you don't get first time, but when you watch it second time, it's even more ridiculously funny. Like they've done a sort of bank job thing with stolen money, and they're working in a joke shop. And the police come in, up here, and it's the way it's filmed. It's pure. They're like up here. Oh shit! The police are here. Up here. One guy hides in the back. The other guy's up here. Up here. Police come in. Up here. Got any fake tits? It's stuff like that. It's fantastic. Fantastic. Paperbacks stayed in Jackson Victor's flat. There you go. Did I either move you out using when you had lots of wardrobes, or did you know somebody that had a Yamaha DJX? Amazing. No, but I mean the music, see the bit when you watch it, it's hard to tell. There is I could link you a YouTube video of the song at the end. But see, by the time you've watched, I don't know, an hour and 15 minutes or something, and it gets to the bit at the end when it goes one more time to Strathall, and then it starts playing the Ebo stuff on the guitar, and they go down, and they get on his wee 50cc Yamaha moped, and it's like, see when he kickstarts it. Right, I'm not going to ruin it for you, but basically, when he kickstarts that bike, it's just pure, yeah! My favourite thing ever. Sorry, I'm getting caught up. I was just about to mention the Big Country soundtracks epic. Claire Gogan is lovely. Have you said before you like Claire Gogan and Gregory's Girl, who was also in Red Dwarf as Kachansky, I seem to remember. I thought the English were a strange race based on Doctor Who and Python. Yeah, you can think that if you will. Oh, Billy, Sturgeon is hopeless, man. Sorry. You're reading the papers, aren't you? You're not looking at the facts. Sorry, I'm not getting political, but in Scotland, all our media, every single part of it is controlled by 2 or 3 millionaires who also control the Westminster government, who pay them. So you've got to look behind the lines and realise where it's coming from. It's a lie. Sturgeon means is doing our best. Unlike, it's not a case of trying to do well and failing. It's trying to do well. Originally from America. Oh no, I've got to make it go down. AJ Bob, I don't think I've heard you before. You have to watch Angel Share. No, I heard it. Well, no, because I think I know which country you're in. Yeah, I've been there. One of the few countries other than here I've ever been. A Suzuki GP 2125. It could be. That's one of the bits in that film that makes it pure. When it's like an advert, they've got there's a bit where they're getting chased up. The rest and be thankful. which is not far away from here. And basically, if you're ever visiting Glasgow and you go up the Westmeath Tadpole, it's like going up a big gorge, and it's amazing. And that's where they chase it in there. It's amazing. Suzuki, it could be a Suzuki. It's not a very big bike, and they're getting chased by a Japanese camera crew who are kind of trying to. Oh, I don't want to ruin it. I don't know where you can find Restless Natives. You might have to pirate it. It will be findable, and give it a shot. But I mean, really, it's like I've watched the end. I can't watch it and not cry for most of it. I can't even. I got surprisingly far through that just because I was drunk, but absolutely. Yeah, Billy. No, I mean, I've talked to you about this before, and I've changed the subject before because it depends. It depends. The internet's amazing for giving you the truth is on the internet, but also if you think the earth is flat and you've decided the earth is flat, you can go onto the internet and find loads of people that will back you up that the earth is flat. That's what's happened. But I've tried so many times to work out the Restless Native song, and I just but nothing seems to happen in it. It's really difficult. It's all to do with the no, the internet's just there for the truth. But the problem is when you've got no censorship, if you've got a crazy mad idea, then you can easily just find anything to back you up. You know what I mean? It's like pure, yes, this is not Earth, it's actually Mars. I'm sure there's a website you can go to, and everyone in that doesn't bother looking at any other information. They only look at that, and you can twist it around just by ignoring stuff. But in saying that, maybe I'm sitting in the 1% of the internet that's just, I don't have an agenda. It's like I'm not making millions of pounds. I do actually make some money from internet, but from the YouTube thing. But I mean, I'll just tell you, I make approximately £43 for doing a video every day. £43 a month. Yeah, and the earth is not flat. Yeah, sorry, I don't want to ruin it for anyone. You know what I mean? It's like, but the internet can back you up, whatever you want to. I feel it instant. Echo chamber, exactly. But as long as you appreciate that the fact that everything that you ever see, no matter what it is, I mean, I'm telling you that this is a really the Ibanez Roadster series is fantastic. I'm sure there's sites that will tell you that there's plenty of sites that say Harley Benton are the best guitars in the world ever, and you'll get, as I was saying earlier on, there was a guy who's like a Westfield saying that, oh no, those guitars are 100% Scottish and better than a custom shop American Strat, and it's like, Bill, you can build it, but do some research. Don't just take anything for granted. I really thought I wanted to play something Scottish. What's Scottish? There we go. Is it going to be in time with the drum beat? I can use it in the ending song. It's an American songwriter. Look at the left, the captain said. Like every night between the trailers. Not the lonely one that you wish upon. Not the lonely one that gets all the sailors. But it looks so dead, this time sweet. You got to make the corner go. Two vibrations, I don't know any of the words at all. And all the beaters, life is just beautiful. Star bright, you got the love and I like. Take this crazy train around. Wish I'd never gone on this flight tonight. Can't touch the beat, can't feel. Nothing there got a little backside. You take back time on their way. We're winning. Life is just miracle. Star bright, you got the love and I like. We did the corner around. Wish I'd never known this flight tonight. A wee bit disappointed. I couldn't actually remember how it went. I'm sure I used to be able to play it. At one point, I remember playing it on the 8-string bass. It works in there. I'm not quite okay. That was meant to be an end stream. I've been on for 2 hours 20 minutes. We're in our little corner of the echo chamber. It is, as long as you know it's an echo chamber. You got the hat. I'm very well informed, Malcolm. Yeah. I'm sure that the flat earthers are very well informed as well. Look up stuff, and then take all the information that's available, and then make your decision. Don't make your decision and then look for the information that backs up your decision. It's basically suits for anything. It doesn't matter whether we're talking about politics, whether the earth is flat, what the best guitar is. Think about it. Look at the information, weigh it up, and then don't go in thinking, "Oh, I've already decided that a classic vibe Stratocaster is the best guitar you can buy. It's better than anything that's ever existed." If you decide that that's what you want, that's what you want to believe, you can look up stuff and just ignore all the stuff that doesn't agree with you and agree with the stuff that does. Look at everything and then find it out, and then we'll know who you'll end up. Your guitar might be the best in the world, but it can't be, because the best guitar in the world I've got, it's a Schecter Telecaster. Although I've never play it, so maybe it isn't. Many YouTube reviewers telling us, but the thing is, they can make a living at it though. That's what I've had that thought before, wondering if I was getting given money, like enough to live off from a guitar. I don't know, see, I struggle line. You've seen me do it before. I can't. I basically, I don't know. I'm not sure exactly at what point in my life when I, like, see, even if it's a pretty small lie, I struggle. I'm not good at pulling. I can totally back up something that I love and talk about for ages, but I cannot lie. If I lie, I just get all kind of. I don't. So I never lie. It's like pure yes. Oh, this guitar, yeah. It's like yeah. Oh, I really like the logo on it. Yes, it's a really nice color, and it's like pure yeah. I won't mention the fact that there's no, the wood's made of pallet wood. There's no way you can ever tune it. So it's like, I'm not lying. I'm just omitting information. I can sort of do that, but I can't lie. I decided years ago, 20 years ago, that there's no point in lying. Well, there is obviously if you've stolen like money doing a bank job or something dodgy. So the best way to do that is just to not avoid it. I think the problem with lying is if you say a lie, you've got to remember what the lie was you said, and then you get called out, and then the paranoia hits me, and it's like pure. I can't remember what it said. If someone said, so maybe sometimes I can't remember. Like I can't remember exactly what I can remember what I paid for that. I can remember what I paid for that. Yeah, okay. No, so I do remember. You know, if I say I can't remember how much something, it's like maybe it's not a lie if I say, oh, I paid. You know, damn it, I can't see anything on the wall. I can't remember exactly how much I paid for. But you know what I mean? It's like maybe I'll say, oh, I paid £50 for that guitar. And then it's like, if I said I paid £50 for that guitar, that's what I thought at the time. Maybe I paid £100 for it and I'm wrong. That's possible. But I didn't lie. I didn't know that I paid £100 and said I paid 50. Look at it that way. Dan McCafferty. Yeah, I met Dan McCafferty. Dan McCafferty signed my jacket. He was a grumpy bastard. So I think really we're at the stage of I should really just try and make this the first ever time I've ever managed to get through a whole bottle of Bucky. It was only going to take one drink. Dan McCafferty I think he was in a bad mood though in Glasgow. Fat fingers. Life's too short. Yeah, there's no point in being argumentative about it. Just walk away from a fight. The internet's a bizarre one though. My pal Buster, I think he's probably gone to bed by now because he can't be bothered listening to a drunk person. He got a comment. He was on one of his videos the other day. Check him out, Buster's Guitars. I'll forget to put a link up. That's not a lie. He's on, and someone was, you know, he got which I've had before, but I think he said it wasn't bothering, but I think it was. It's like when folk just go up here, oh, you pure can't play the bass and you're out of tune and all it sounds pure shit. And it's like these folk are just not worth it. Just don't bother. If I see somebody and it's something I don't like, I'm not paid for it, I'd maybe say something. If I paid a tenner to go and see The Last Jedi and it was shit, right? I'd maybe complain about it. I didn't because I couldn't be bothered. But you know, maybe it's sort of. But if I'm looking up a YouTube channel and someone's been a knob and I don't like them, not look at them again. I mean, okay, you do have to watch adverts for 10 seconds or something to get in here, but I mean, I'm not making any money from it, and you're not paying any money to watch it, so if you don't like it, just there's no point. If you can't think of anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Yeah, which actually Buster said, and I didn't really want to say, I know where you got that quote. That quote is from Thumper, from Bambi. Yeah. It's hard. It's amazing going back to jamming with another human being. About a year and a half, 6 months before all this lockdown pish started, or maybe a year before, I joined a Black Sabbath band, which is the first band I've been in for years and years and years. And it was just playing with other people is amazing. I'm so much better confidence-wise. I mean, you might not hear it when I'm playing, but I feel it. I'm just like up here, yeah, put me on stage replacing Jimi Hendrix. I'll go up and do something just from the confidence of playing with other people. And the thing about going into I've obviously been doing these videos for longer than I've been in the last couple of bands. And it's like, I can play no problem for 10, 15 minutes for a video. But when you're in the studio, suddenly you've got to play for an hour and you're like, my fingers hurt, my finger. But you can't stop. Whereas when you're sitting playing in the house, when your fingers hurt, you just stop. You don't think about it. But you've still got another 2 songs to do because there's a drummer and a bass player and a guitar. So you've got to keep going. And it's like you have to fight through it. And it's like, and it's amazing. So yes, get yourself going. Belly, don't bother going into the I don't talk about politics. I do try to avoid it. I know what your opinion was a couple of years ago, and as soon as I saw it, I was just like, "You're right. Let's talk about Westones." I don't mind arguing about guitars, because that doesn't matter. Oh, Fender make the best guitars in the world. Oh, Gibson make the best guitars in the world. That's an argument I'm totally happy with, because ultimately you can both be pure nasty talking about it, and ultimately neither of you really care. It doesn't make any difference. I don't really care whether Gibson's better than Fender or Fender's better than Gibson, but I mean, I'll fight it just for the sake of argument. But when it's important stuff, it doesn't matter. There's Max, there is stuff coming up with the Black Sabbath tribute band. Honestly, the last time we were in the rehearsal studio, because we had a gig that was meant to be last week, and we had pure nailed it, man. Honestly, it's like the most rehearsed I've been in a band for years, and we're doing crazy Black Sabbath stuff. The singer we've got, but basically the whole band is nuts. I've never really heard anyone that could play Geezer Butler on the bass. That's how I learned to play. The drummer is like, can do it. It's like he's not like a drummer playing Black Sabbath. He is Bill Ward. He does he's got that sloppy thing going, which is nuts. The guitarist's amazing, and the singer is Ozzy. It's sick, actually. Someone, Billy, earlier on, sent me a link to, was it not Rockstar, what's the Xbox, Rocksmith, and it was like, listen to it, and it was like, it was a song NIB with Ozzy singing, and it was like, my God, he sounds like Brian. It's like pure sick how much, I mean, I don't want to slag him off, but the singer in the band is not really, in our bands, he's not really a musician. I think what he does is, like, see when he's out in the car, I think he works in Edinburgh sometimes, so he's like maybe in the car for an hour every day, and I think he sings along, so he kind of copies it. But I mean, it's like the wee inflections are it's just perfect. It really does. There are elements when we're playing, when I'm sitting there playing along, and it's like, it does sound like I'm playing along with the record, with the bass pulled out, and I'm playing the bass, like, quite a lot of the time. I'm the bass player, so I can't really play any Sabbath. See, that's where I come in going, ooh. So, rock on, everyone. 2.5 hours as well. I normally make these about an hour and a half long. 15 folk have kept in, 15 folk have liked. We're laughing. I'm in the process just now of having to pay for the computer, and I'm thinking I might be able to upgrade the camera at some point. I don't know if anyone really notices, but I mean, that's a 1080p camera, and I think there's a possibility of getting a 4K camera, which I don't have. My telly doesn't do 4K, so it'll really be for people watching. But my thinking along those lines was, what really is there to see? Okay, you can see this beautiful guitar a little bit cleaner, but I mean, you're only looking at me. All you're going to see is more wrinkles and warts and more Bucky. So I've got to do it now. I'm not going to be able to do that, am I? I'm going to have to try. So good night. I love you all. This is fantastic, and I'm going to try and drink an entire bottle of Bucky on the internet. Give me a couple of seconds. I did it! An entire bottle of Bucky live on the internet. Love you all. Thanks everyone for coming in. Neon Tetrahedron, Billy, Jez, Blacktooth Fox, Max. You're all amazing. This is, when I started doing this, it was kind of like, what am I going to talk about? Now I can just go, I'll just go on and just get drunk with my pals. Fantastic. Orchestral drummer, everyone. Jeff, brilliant. I love you all. This has been an absolute awesome. I'm now going to have to try and calm down. I don't know how. Actually, last week, I'll be totally honest. See, when going into the shower, I was pretty much sweating. And I went into the shower with 2 bottles. Like, add the bottle of Bucky. I was drinking Bucky in the shower. Like, the first time I've ever done it in my life. And what happened was, after you drank Bucky in the shower, the label peels off really easily. Rather than me spending ages with a razor blade and lighter fluid, I can just take the Bucky into the shower, which I can't do now because I've finished it. Love you all. Blacktooth Funk. All of you, brilliant. Thanks very much. Love you all. Rock on!